At number 10, we have Doja Cat. This artist rose to fame in 2018 after her song Moo went viral for not only being a meme, but a viral hit. Doja Cat, whose real name is Amala Ratna Zandile Delemi, and sorry, I definitely butchered that one, but she has gone so far in her career as she received a Grammy Award, 5 Billboard Music Awards, and 5 American Music Awards, just to name a few. Well, the reason why some view Doja's career as being cancelled is because of her recent tweets that hurt a lot of her fans. She took it to X, formerly known as Twitter, and expressed her feelings. Doja wrote, "My fans don't name themselves. If you call yourself a kitten or kittens, that means you need to get off your phone and get a job and help your parents with the house." Not only did she tweet that, but she even started responding to fans. One fan, whose account name was the Kittens Web, wrote back to Doja and said, "What should I change my name to since you don't like the term kitten?" Which Doja responded with, "Just delete the entire account and rethink everything. It's never too late." This made many fans upset as they believe without them she wouldn't even have a career or the finances as she does now. However, some agree with Doja as they believe she's just trying to encourage them to do something more productive other than spending time running a fan account. However, after all of this, fans actually found a tweet Doja wrote in 2020 which asked her fans through a poll what their fan base name should be, and kitten was an option. And for number 9, we have Colleen Ballinger. If you're unsure who Colleen is, she has been a prominent figure on YouTube since she began uploading on her channel back in 2006. She had a fictional character that went by Miranda Sings, who was supposed to be a comedic figure with most of her supporters being young kids. Well, Colleen has actually been MIA from the internet since her ex-fans began to bring up receipts of behaviors that they started to be made aware of was not only toxic but really wrong. Many of these fans began talking to their idol Colleen when they were as young as 13 through DMs, and Colleen would actively partake in her fan conversations. However, what she would say was quite alarming. Adam McIntyre, who was one of these ex-fans, played a prominent role as he tried bringing up the red flags back in 2020, but Colleen was able to defend herself and actually turn all the hate to the then 17-year-old Adam. However, this year, more and more people came to support Adam and had similar experiences to share. In fact, tons of DMs were leaked and Colleen no longer had any more excuses. Some messages showed Colleen asking her young fans for advice when it came to intimacy with her partners, and even asked Adam to send pictures of his behind when he was young, and even mailed him undergarments. This is just a small portion of what Colleen did, as we don't have time to discuss all of it. But if you're wondering how Colleen responded to all of these allegations, well, she posted an apology video onto YouTube. It wasn't a normal apology because she thought it was a good idea to sing it and not apologize, so technically it wasn't an apology. In fact, the main chorus of the song read "Toxic Gossip Train." She discusses the grooming by singing these lyrics in her song. "The only thing that I've groomed are my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer, just a loser." In 2016, she was one of the most paid YouTubers on the platform, but now many believe her career is over. And at number 8, we have Kanye West. Although Kanye is a musical inspiration for many, he has been a controversial figure over the years due to his comments. What got him in trouble in 2013 was his anti-Semitic posts that he shared all over his social media that has millions and millions of followers, many being impressionable young fans. Kanye was actually kicked off of Twitter due to his anti-Semitic and harmful tweets, but his account was restored once he made a promise to the company that he would no longer post anything harmful. His account was taken down in the first place because he posted a picture of a very harmful symbol embedded inside of the Star of David. Many believe no one else has had a bigger self-destruction than Kanye, as he was once on Forbes' billionaires list, but since he has lost so many sponsorships from Adidas, Balenciaga, Gap, and even his talent agency CAA after all of his anti-Semitic posts. This is just a peek into the controversies he has been in, as he has also released a White Lives Matter shirt to his Yeezy fashion show, which shocked many and caused him to receive a ton of backlash, not only from fans but other celebrities as well. And for number 7, we have Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn was formerly known as Bruce Jenner, who was once a gold medal Olympian who was married to Kris Jenner. Well, over the years, it seems like she's been under fire quite often for the comments she's made about her past family and even other celebrities. Jenner became a contributor to Fox News back in 2022 and has been the leader of many controversial opinions. One instance she had was with TikToker Dylan Mulvaney. Dylan is transgender just like Jenner and has grown a huge fan base and was even a sponsor for Bud Light, which caused a ton of controversy, which she blames on transphobia. Well, you would assume because Jenner and Mulvaney have both gone through similar experiences, they would be understanding of one another, right? Well, no. Caitlyn has had this to say about Dylan. "I have never spoken to her, nor will I. I try to be for the LGBT community, the adult in the room. She is not. She is bouncing around all over the place. I have nothing in common with her. The fringe is the worst that can happen to the trans community, and the media only wants to report on that because of the sensationalization of it, and honestly, that's got to stop." Caitlyn has also misgendered Dylan in the past, referring to her as he, which has also angered many since Caitlyn is also transgender. Jenner now has come back to the media once again after backstabbing the Kardashians and sharing alleged family secrets. Many believe she's just trying to stay relevant following the divorce from Chris, as she has come out many times now to bash on her once upon a time family. What do you think? And for number 6, we have billionaire Elon Musk. There's no doubt he has his talents and brains when it comes to entrepreneurship. However, that doesn't mean he has always been in the favor of people's eyes, as many believe he's a controversial figure. Back in 2020, he tweeted, "Pronouns suck." His girlfriend at the time had to reply to Musk publicly as she responded with, "I love you, but please turn off your phone or give me a call. I cannot support hate. Please stop this. I know this isn't your heart." Musk ended up clarifying what he meant to say as he tweeted, "I absolutely support trans, but all these pronouns are aesthetic nightmare," which further angered some people, but most of the controversies he's gotten himself in revolve around his online behavior, as he has once compared Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to another dictator who was responsible for orchestrating the death of over 6 million innocent lives. Musk has also made fun of Bill Gates' appearance, wrote misogynistic tweets towards Senator Elizabeth Warren because she said he should be paying more taxes, and he even tweeted in 2018 that his employees at the Tesla factory could lose their stock option if they unionized. Some find Elon offensive, however, there are still people who find him quite comedic and likable. We have made it to number 5 with Amber Heard. This actress, who was once married to the Captain Jack Sparrow, of course we're talking about Johnny Depp, the industry once turned their head to Depp due to all of Heard's allegations surrounding him and how she said he treated her. In fact, Depp lost millions and millions of dollars after companies heard about these allegations, which made them drop their offers. However, in 2022, Amber began to face huge backlash after accusations of her were made public that did not make her appear as a victim she claimed she was. But tables turned in 2019 when Depp filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit over an article where Heard spoke about the alleged harm she received from Depp. And in January of 2020, Daily Mail obtained phone recordings from the former couple which exposed Heard for physically hurting Depp. In the recording, Amber says, "I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched." She further added, "I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you." And ever since this was released, it changed many people's perspectives on the situation. In 2022, Depp vs. Heard was finally settled as Johnny ended up winning the case against Heard. Amber has disappeared from the spotlight. In fact, Daily Mail claims their source, who's friends with Amber, revealed Heard has quit Hollywood and relocated to Spain with her daughter. And for number 4, we have Andrew Tate. Well, it's no secret Tate rose to fame due to his controversial views and potential harm he has spread all over his social media, which caused him to be banned off of multiple platforms in August of 2022. Some of his controversial quotes include, "I was getting on a plane and I could see through the cockpit that a female was the pilot, and I took a picture and I said, most women I know can't even park a car. Why is a woman flying my plane? And they banned me." Tate also has said, "You can't be responsible for something that doesn't listen to you. You can't be responsible for a dog if it doesn't obey you, or a child if it doesn't obey you, or a woman that doesn't obey you." His misogynistic beliefs were made clear as he clearly didn't value women, as he often objectified them and degraded their status because they were, well, women. He is seen as a harmful figure, especially because many viewers of his content are impressionable and young, and this whole idea Tate is trying to teach them is extremely harmful. And for number 3, we have Ezra Miller. Just a warning, the following information may be sensitive to some viewers as it discusses serious topics. This American actor starred in the 2023 movie The Flash. Tons of people began to actually boycott the film due to the actor's controversial past. In fact, it goes beyond just opinions, as they were facing charges for burglary and assault. Miller Miller not only has a restraining order against him, but his criminal record seems to be telling of a pattern. And in 2022, Chase Iron Eyes, an American activist and attorney, actually claimed Miller was manipulating and controlling their young daughter. They go into detail on what they believe Miller has done in the past, although some of what they say is too graphic to be shared. Following these claims, another parent came forward as they also said Miller was acting inappropriately towards their young child. A temporary harassment prevention order was granted and the actor deactivated his Instagram shortly after. Although some of what has been said about Miller are just accusations, many members of the public seem to be not in favor of Miller. For number 2, we have Danny Masterson. This actor was best known for his role on That 70s Show, but within the recent years has been in a ton of trouble. In 2020, he was charged with SA following 3 women coming forward with their accusations against Masterson. Although he pleaded not guilty in 2021 to all 3 charges, the judge asked him to stand trial. And on September 7th of this year, Masterson was officially sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. One survivor said she, quote, knew he belonged behind bars for the safety of all the women he came into contact with another survivor saying, you are pathetic, disturbed, and completely violent. The world is better off with you in prison. It is devastating. These women have gone through so much, and we hope for those who are involved to be able to seek support as they attempt to heal now that justice has been served. And for our number 1 spot, we have Jonah Hill. Hill has starred in many huge movies such as 21 Jump Street, Superbad, and Wolf of Wall Street, just to name a few. Although he has had great success in his career, he has also faced accusations from his ex-girlfriend of being emotionally harmful towards her. Sarah Brady, who is Hill's ex, shared screenshots of their text conversations this year, and many were shocked by his behavior. The post revealed a list of rules Sarah had to follow in order to be his girlfriend. Some of these rules involved Sarah to not partake in modeling, posting pictures of herself in bathing suits, and she wasn't allowed to hang out with friends if it wasn't something Hill deemed as respectful, such as having coffee or getting lunch. Sarah stated, I hope my ex has a daughter. Maybe she'll turn him into a real feminist because the fact that he calls himself a feminist now is laughable. The internet then sided with Sarah, and even Alexa Nicholas, who was on the popular show Zoe 101, added to the situation by sharing her alleged stories with Hill. Although some of these celebrities are still favorable to many, it's clear the internet is quick to deem someone as cancelled. Some believe cancel culture is extremely toxic, whereas others view it as a way to deplatform someone who isn't deserving of it.
Number 10, the Facebook Live. A video has recently resurfaced of Justin and Hailey on Facebook Live in May of 2020. In the clip, Hailey admitted to the constant comparisons that she gets to Selena Gomez, and she says they're overwhelming. Quote, the ways that I feel like people have made comparisons and just put me in a position where they've really made me feel like less of a woman. It's not easy. But while she's pouring her heart out on camera, Justin is not exactly being supportive. The whole time she's talking, he keeps a poker face and gazes blankly off camera. Now that people are rewatching the video almost 3 years later, they're pretty shocked by his lack of response. In fact, his facial expression is so vacant that some people joked that he looks like a cardboard cutout or a green screen projection. Fans felt that his body language was a major red flag for their relationship. Someone in the comments suggested that Justin was being hypnotized to sit there. Most people could agree that he genuinely looked like he would rather be anywhere else. So was this clip an indicator that their relationship is not that great behind the scenes, or is everyone just reading too much into it? Number 9, Justin screaming at Hailey. In July of 2021, the couple were in Las Vegas to celebrate Kendall Jenner's new tequila brand, 818 Tequila. After the night, a TikTok user posted a video of Justin and Hailey leaving the club, with fans and bodyguards around them. In the video, they could be seen holding hands, but as they were walking down the halls of the hotel, Justin very clearly looked like he was yelling at her. The clip went viral on TikTok with more than 1.2 million views, and it drew concern from fans everywhere. From that point on, the comment section was filled with theories about why he was screaming at her, and many people put it down to a sign of toxicity in their relationship. After all, who yells at their partner like that? Before it was deleted, fans seemed to turn on Justin for the way he was treating Hailey. Although some came to his defense and claimed that he wasn't actually yelling at her out of anger, but maybe out of excitement. Sadly though, that was far from the only video that came out about them showing him losing control of his temper. Number 8, running away from Hailey. In September September of 2021, there was a shocking video posted on Twitter which showed Justin running away from paparazzi and fully leaving Hailey while she falls on the ground. In the clip, he gets out of the car with his skateboard and just takes off without saying anything. At first, it looks like he's alone just doing his own thing, but 1 second later, Hailey literally falls out of the car and looks flustered, especially at the fact that she got left behind. To make things so much worse, this all happened on a busy street, so plenty of people watched it. She then sprints after him, obviously trying to catch up, but Justin is already out of sight. The whole thing must have been incredibly humiliating for her, and that's exactly what the comments said. Someone wrote, "I know this keeps her awake at night, and that's why you shouldn't chase men." However, fans were also very sympathetic to her situation, considering that a lot of people could relate to having a partner that just doesn't care for you. One user wrote, "As much as we may not like her, no female deserves to be treated like this by their husband. She deserves better regardless." Justin says, "Don't touch me." Obviously, every relationship is different and every couple has different boundaries with each other, but fans were still pretty shocked to see a video of Hailey making Justin physically uncomfortable with her touch. In the video, they are doing a live stream of some kind. He's sitting down casually while she's standing behind him with her arms crossed. She then tries to be affectionate and put her arms around him, which he instantly reacts to. Justin becomes visibly annoyed and says, "Babe, I can't. Don't touch me right now." At first, Hailey cannot tell if he's being serious and she just keeps her arms there. He then says, "Just in general, that just happens sometimes. I just need some space." To be fair, he's trying to be nice about it and communicate with her honestly. But in terms of his body language, you can tell that he's not really loving the way he's being touched. A lot of people called out Hailey for disrespecting his boundaries and making him stressed. But of course, there were also those fans who felt that this was just a sign that he straight up doesn't like her anymore, because he keeps getting annoyed with every little thing that she does. Hailey was a stalker. Recently, there's been evidence posted that proves the model was a hardcore Justin Bieber fan for years before they got together. In fact, she would often tweet about his relationship with Selena and how much he shipped them as a couple. In a deleted tweet from 2011, she wrote, "I don't care what anyone says, but Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez together is the definition of a teenage dream." Of course, that must have been pretty embarrassing for her, but to be fair, she was only around 14 or 15 when she posted that. Soon after that, a damning video appeared online from 2012 that shows Hailey lurking in the background while Justin met with fans. She was in a crowd trying to get close to him. This was obviously long before she was a part of his inner circle. They were first introduced in 2009, so at the time of the video they would have met before, but judging by that footage, Justin still treated her like just another fan. One of the most liked comments under that video says, "She was the groupie with the most financial resources to keep stalking, and eventually came out on top. Money does buy love indeed." The Apple Music interview. In the midst of the drama, fans have continually brought up an interview of Justin talking about the downsides of his relationship. Apparently, he struggled after realizing that his marriage to Hailey wouldn't instantly make him a better person. He said, "It's a journey. I remember when I first got married, I hit a little bit of an emotional breakdown because I thought marriage was going to fix all of my problems, and it didn't." He went on to say that he felt like a hypocrite because he wanted Hailey to do something that he wasn't doing for himself. Although Justin was obviously speaking from the heart here, many fans were mocking the video by saying that he only feels that way because he's with the wrong person. Shortly after they tied the knot, Hailey and Justin did an interview with Vogue, where they talked about going to a marriage counselor. Hailey said, "The thing is, marriage is very hard. That is a sentence that you should lead with. It's really effing hard," which is something that they could both agree on. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get divorced, but some would say it's not a good sign. Slams the door on Hailey. In 2020, Justin got a ton of flack from fans in a paparazzi video that went viral. Despite claims that he is a gentleman, his behavior around his wife has been far from chivalrous, and that only refers to what's actually been caught on camera. In a shocking clip, the singer pulled up in a black chauffeured SUV. As he got out of the car, he looked visually annoyed, as if he just had some kind of meltdown. Without looking back, he carelessly slams the door in Hailey's face. She tragically follows him without any pushback and even tries to point him in the right direction. The only thing she said was, "Babe, I think this is the right way." Of course, a lot of people were sickened by the whole video because it really looked like a textbook toxic relationship. Seeing Hailey be automatically apologetic after Justin clearly embarrassed her in front of everyone was triggering for a lot of viewers. One person wrote, "She needs to wake up. If a man treats you like that, he doesn't love you." Another person commented, "Ugh, if I was Hailey, I would get a divorce and move out of the country." So it seems like people were encouraging her to break up. The argument on live. In a Facebook Live, Justin and Hailey can be seen sitting on a couch answering questions about his Lyme disease diagnosis. They get asked whether or not he's scared about the diagnosis, and even though the question was clearly directed at Justin, Hailey decides to answer instead. Midway through her response, he then cuts her off and says, "She was asking me." What follows is a long silence, which eventually breaks into an awkward laugh. He then says, "They're asking me because it's my Lyme disease, it's not your Lyme disease." In response, Hailey says that she's the one who's been going to all his doctor's appointments with him, but Justin cuts her off again and says, "Listen here, woman," which obviously was the worst thing he could have possibly said. After that, they decide to end the live stream, but not before Hailey made a sarcastic comment about his attitude. At this point, it's pretty obvious there is a lot of tension between the two of them, which might have been exacerbated by Justin's health condition. At the time, he also had a serious case of mono, which he says was affecting his skin, brain function, and energy. The arranged marriage. In 2020, Justin sat down with Demi Lovato on the Ellen DeGeneres show and talked about how she met his wife. He said, "I think because she was raised Christian and they found out that, I think it was an arranged marriage, I'm pretty sure." Looking back now, it was definitely an arranged marriage. They set this whole thing up. He explains that since Hailey was raised Christian, her dad Stephen Baldwin decided to introduce them because he thought that they would have similar values and believe the same thing. Justin said, "It was definitely an arranged marriage now that I'm thinking about it. Goodness gracious." Even though Demi Lovato laughed off the idea, Justin just kept on repeating how he thought it was an arranged marriage. Of course, he was clearly joking, but a lot of fans have taken this interview as proof and just run with it. In fact, there's been a ton of videos posted where people tried to use this to explain how their marriage was a setup, and Justin was tricked. Their first meeting was all the way back in 2009, and it was actually captured on film, so everyone can judge for themselves whether or not they think it was arranged. Number 1, allegations of cheating. Justin got together with Hailey very quickly after he ended things with Selena in June of 2018, so ever since then, cheating rumors have followed the couple. For her part, Hailey has adamantly denied this was the case, and she said that Selena and Justin weren't as serious as everyone thought when they got back together in 2018. She said, "As a woman, I would never want to get into a relationship with someone and be engaged to them and be getting married to them and be thinking in the back of my mind, I wonder if that door was really closed. I know for a fact that the reason we were able to get back together was because it was very much completely closed." But Selena recently commented on a TikTok in a way that suggests that was not the whole truth. One of her fans posted a video saying, "Does anyone just feel really bad for Selena Gomez? Like, can you imagine going through a breakup so publicly with a guy that you were in love with for like 7 years and then like 2 months later he just marries someone?" In response, she wrote, "That made me cry, thank you." So even though Hailey swears that there was no overlap whatsoever, the timeline has always been pretty shady.
Number 10, the wedding ring. It seems the allegedly very happy couple is having some trouble in paradise, and it looks like they will continue to deny it. Just recently, Britney was spotted without her wedding ring, and Sam seemed to take note, and was seen without his just days later. The singer was caught by paparazzi at the end of March, headed to a private jet with her manager Kate Hudson, as they headed off to Hawaii, oddly enough without her husband. Then just 2 days later, Sam was ringless as he left the gym, which only added evidence that the 10-month marriage could already be ending. For two people in the public eye so consistently, many fans believe that this is a subtle hint to the beginning of the end. Britney's recent post didn't help with the speculations as well. She posted a short clip mid-March of her trip to Mexico, captioning the video with, "Throwback to Mexico before I got married. So happy and silly here." This obviously sparked some worry amongst her fans, with one commenting, "So she's not happy now?" Another added, "She's obviously not happy now. This marriage seems shammy." Since getting flooded with comments, she has since turned off her comments on Instagram, but it hasn't stopped the talking on other platforms. Even with the allegations of her relationship, Sam's representative has since confirmed that there's no marital issues going on between the two. His publicist added that he took off his ring and wasn't able to attend the trip because he is filming a movie. Even if that is so, Britney and her representative still haven't come forward as to where her ring is. Number 9, the constant fighting. Speculations about the couple being on the rocks isn't new news though. Back in the fall of last year, a new report emerged claiming that the couple was having constant fights as a result of Britney's alleged mood swings. A source at the time told Globe and Mail that Sam's marriage to Britney was seriously a heavy lift, claiming that he is burnt out and ready to get out of there as soon as possible. Allegedly, the newlyweds' non-stop fighting was partially due to her erratic moods, but also to do with Britney's neediness. An insider to the press said, "Sam's had the patience of a saint, but he's seriously worn down. If he so much as heads off for a workout, she freaks out and gives him the third degree," even going on to claim that Britney was essentially essentially treating her new husband as a glorified assistant. Though Sam has shown his protective side online towards Britney, the source continues to reveal how exhausted he really is behind the scenes. An insider shares by saying he has to wait on her hand and foot and be her sounding board for every little decision. He's seriously thinking about a trip away with his friends and his sisters, maybe a trio back to Iran to see his folks, adding at the end how crucial it is for him to clear his head. The couple didn't comment at the time about these alleged fights, so take these claims with a grain of salt. But either way, it does sound like the relationship could be more messy than we would like to think. Number 8, the intervention. This past year has looked to be a whirlwind for the singer, from getting married to clapping back at fans who called for a wellness check, as well as becoming upset when fans began filming her when she had a rare dinner at a restaurant. It's definitely been a lot. After sources claimed to the press that her inner circle, including her manager and husband, were planning an intervention, she was pretty furious. A source even said that the reason for this intervention was because the singer was becoming so erratic that they feared that she was going to pass away. Britney then took to Instagram to explain her side of the story and address all the allegations. She wrote, "It makes me sick to my stomach that it's even legal for people to make up stories about how I almost passed away. I mean, at some point, enough is enough." She added, "I probably have to stop posting on Instagram even though I enjoy it. There's obviously a lot of people who don't wish me well." Sam came forward and told Access Hollywood that an intervention didn't happen. He said, "My wife is in full control of her life and will continue to make all the decisions involving her care, regardless of the circumstance. Speculation on her health is inappropriate and should end immediately." Apparently, a house was going to be rented for 2 months while she underwent treatment, which would include counseling, but it was cancelled because she became too aware of what was going on. Number 7, the prenup. With Britney's $60 million net worth, you can imagine that there's definitely going to be a prenup involved. But this prenup seems to be a little bit more hardcore, with some calling it ironclad. A source told TMZ that the prenup will ensure that Sam won't get a dollar of anything Britney has made in her career up until this point, saying she will retain her entire fortune if things go south for her and Sam. Allegedly, this prenup was written over the course of her engagement and has been thoroughly looked over by her lawyers. When Sam noticed that people were talking about the prenup, he joked on his Instagram story, writing, "Thank you for the concern of the prenup. Of course, writing an ironclad prenup to protect my Jeep and shoe collection in case she dumps me one day." Many did agree though, as fans came forward admitting how they don't necessarily trust Sam. One Twitter user wrote, "Britney has suffered to get all of her property in her hands. The thought of her ever losing part of it to someone else is honestly just so nauseating." Number 6, gold digger. Not long after Britney and Sam got engaged, many fans were not too sure about how they felt about the whole thing. During her long battle to escape her conservatorship, Sam was always standing right beside her, looking to support the singer even through some of the most difficult years of her life. Though she won a huge victory of ending her conservatorship and with getting engaged at the time, fans still believed that we weren't totally in the clear yet. Sure, many were happy for her, but others couldn't help but notice some red flags popping up. And not surprisingly, fears started circulating that Sam was only in it for the money. This of course would be a pretty long con by Sam, as the two have been together for years, but a few believed it was a gain to fame, money, and live a more lavish lifestyle. The fear seems to come to a head when Sam's ex-girlfriend spoke to TMZ in an interview where she discussed the newly engaged couple. She said to the press, "He finally hit the jackpot." Though she did say she was very happy for the two of them, when asked her thoughts on if he had any ulterior motives, she responded by saying, "Hollywood, it's so hard to tell, but he's so charming and such a sweet guy that I really hope not for her sake." She also added, "She's been through enough." Even if this did seem like a pretty nice blessing from his former girlfriend, others weren't so sure, noticing that after announcing the engagement, he began appearing in the spotlight much more frequently, leaving a few fans to believe he might just be enjoying it a little too much. Number 5, controlling. After she escaped her dad, fans didn't stop worrying about the singer. Many were asking the question, is Sam the one in control now? After getting engaged, it was reported that Sam began taking on much more of the responsibility of Britney, leaving fans worried that he was now the boss of her. An insider who spoke to Radar explained how Britney relies heavily on her then fiance, saying that Sam is now the boss. Understandably, after everything she has been through, Britney doesn't trust a lot of people, which is why she is relying so heavily on Sam. The insider went on to say, "All she has is Sam, which is why everything is going through him. Even simple press requests are now going through Sam." Seems like Sam is very aware of this though, and the power that comes with essentially managing all of Britney's assets. The source shares, "Britney is a cash machine. After what happened with her dad, he knows why people are frightened. He understands the power of being engaged to someone so powerful." Regardless as to if he truly does understand, fans can't seem to shake the concern that he is just a little bit more controlling than he's letting on. Number 4, the ex. Britney's ex-husband Jason Alexander Alexander had some suspicions of its own when it came to his ex's engagement. During an interview with the Inside Edition, Jason shared his true opinion on the whole relationship, claiming he believes that none of it is real at all. He shared, "I'm always going to love her, and if she's happy with Sam, then that's what's going to happen, and I'm happy for her." But when the interviewer asked if he believed it was all real, he responded by simply saying no. Jason didn't stop there though, and went on to crash Britney's wedding before getting arrested for trespassing. 3 months after crashing the wedding, he appeared on the podcast 1 Degree of Scandalous and shared his side of the story. He revealed, "She called me on Monday, which was probably the 7th. It was a couple of days before the wedding. We spoke for about 20 minutes. Nothing was brought up about the wedding taking place at all." He went on to claim it was kind of a flirty conversation. When asked about what he noticed when he crashed the wedding, he said, "Maybe I wasn't on the guest list. Either way, this is Britney's wedding day and she's locked in the bedroom." Number 3, the pretend choke. What most people are calling just an absolute red flag is the weird photo the couple took together. The photo shows Sam's right hand behind Britney's neck and his left hovering in the air around her chin, looking as though he was going to choke her. Britney captioned the photo with, "Happy B-Day to me." While she did look happy in the photo, many Instagram users felt concerned at Sam's weird pretend choke. One fan wrote, "I feel like this is a red flag. Hands around your neck, this is horrifying." Another added, "His stance is aggressive," which is a comment that ended up getting thousands of likes in agreement. Fans even urged her to run, saying, "Are you serious? He looks like he's about to choke you. Run, Brit. Happy birthday, but run." I have to admit the picture is a little weird, but what do you guys think? Number 2, unsupportive dad. Though it looks like Britney is typically pretty happy with Sam, there's definitely one person who absolutely does not approve, and that's her dad, Jamie. A close source to the star revealed in 2016, Britney's dad does not like this guy at all. Jamie has some reservations that he is worried that Sam may be after her money. But after getting out of her strict conservatorship, it really doesn't matter what her dad thinks. This hasn't stopped Sam from sharing his opinions on Jamie though. Sam shared online, "Now it's important for people to understand that I have zero respect for someone trying to control our relationship and constantly throwing obstacles our way." He even went on to say, "In my opinion, James is a total D. I won't be going into details because I've always respected our privacy. But at the same time, I didn't come to this country to not be able to express my opinion and freedom." Number 1, the affair allegations. Just a few months into the relationship, rumors started circulating the couple, relating to cheating allegations. Morgan Osmond from the Bad Girls Club came forward in January 2017. She told the press, "I have videos and images of our real relationship. Britney, he is using you." She posted a photo at the time which showed herself and Sam kissing. She claimed that the two of them were having an affair. She said, "I don't know why everyone is attacking me. Sam is the cheater. I feel sorry for Britney Spears. She seems like a good person." Not long after these allegations, Sam discovered a fake Bumble account using his photos. He then took to Instagram with a screenshot of the profile with a red X writing, "Not on any dating apps." Neither Britney nor Sam commented on these allegations at the time, and Morgan has since deleted the photo. But many fans think the whole thing is just pretty sketchy. Number 10, the breakup. The rumors are out and it looks like Taylor and Joe have called it quits on their 6-year relationship. This has clearly left fans devastated and wondering if this could be true. A source close to Taylor confirmed the news to the press and said, "Taylor and Joe broke up a few weeks ago. They simply grew apart and plan to remain friends." This left fans completely confused and many believe the couple are soulmates. Taylor even said when referring to her song Lavender Haze, "Like my relationship for 6 years, we've had to dodge weird rumors, tabloid stuff, and we usually just ignore it. This song is a story about how the act of ignoring that stuff to protect the real stuff." In an Instagram video posted in October before her album release, Midnights, she shared that she learned the term lavender haze from Mad Men. "I guess theoretically, when you're in lavender haze, you'll do anything to stay there and not let people bring you down off of that cloud." Entertainment Tonight first reported the breakup on Saturday and claimed that the couple actually ended things a few weeks ago. A source claims the breakup was not dramatic, going on to say the relationship had just run its course. This hasn't stopped fans from speculating what the true reason for the breakup is though. Fans began believing that their split could be from the lyrics on her album Folklore, and this could be long time coming, with some speculating that the two could be on the rocks since back in 2020, where her album Lovers was packed packed with more upbeat pop songs, Folklore was something different altogether. One fan wrote at the time, "Did Taylor and Joe break up? These songs are giving me strong breakup vibes." Listeners definitely had some questions when they listened to her song Exile, which is about two exes reflecting on their failed relationship. Taylor sings in it, "I'm not your problem anymore, so who am I offending now? I think I've seen this film before and I'm leaving out the side door." Taylor has since revealed her creative process behind Folklore though. She tweeted at the time, "In isolation, my imagination has run wild, and this album is the result. I've told these stories to the best of my ability with all the love, wonder, and whimsy that they deserve." Regardless of her admitting these stories are from her imagination, it hasn't stopped fans from believing there could be a few possible more problems in her relationship from earlier on. Number 9, Secretive. This couple has been very secretive ever since they reportedly met at the Met Gala in 2016. It was speculated that for Taylor, it was love at first sight based on her lyrics from her 2017 song, Dress. A few months after reportedly meeting, Taylor attended a Kings of Leon show with her friends, which Joe also attended. When rumors started circulating the couple was together back in 2017, a source claimed that this wasn't new news, revealing that the two had been together for months before that. They said at the time, "This isn't a new couple alert or a secret relationship. The only people this has been a secret to is the media because of all of that, us." They continued by saying, "Taylor and Joe's closest friends and their families were aware that they had been together for several months and had known each other for a long time before." Joe first spoke about Taylor during an interview with British Vogue in 2018. He said, "I'm aware people want to know the side of things, but I think we've been successfully very private and that is now sunk in for people. But I really prefer to talk about work." Over the years of their relationship together, they have refused to talk openly about their relationship, but have had multiple appearances together. Taylor shared why she doesn't like to discuss her relationship with Joe openly during an interview with Elle. She said at the time, "I've learned that if I talk about my relationship, people think it's up for discussion, and our relationship isn't up for discussion." She continued by sharing, "If you and I were having a glass of wine right now, we'd be talking about it. But it's just that it goes out into the world, and that's where the boundary is, and that's where my life has become manageable. But since this relationship has been kept under wraps, do you think there could be a few more problems that they wouldn't like to admit behind the scenes?" Number 8, we have the Grammys. Taylor and Joe have never walked a red carpet together, and the 2023 Grammys were no exception. Even with Taylor's 4 nominations, she walked down the red carpet alone. Joe only ended up giving his long-term girlfriend a subtle shout-out when he shared a photo of the singer's cat Meredith, but that was really about it. Joe said back in 2022, "It's not really because I want to be guarded and private, it's a response to something else. We live in a culture that's so increasingly intrusive. The more you give, even if you don't give it, something will be taken." This is especially strange though, considering Joe hasn't even been to the Grammys yet, even opting out of the event when he won part of the writing team for Folklore. Others have wondered if maybe Joe just doesn't handle living in Taylor's level of fame, especially at an event like this, considering he's a more lower profile actor. When asked about this in an interview, he responded by saying, "It's not something I think about, unless I'm in a situation like this and someone says, 'What's it like?' and then I have to think about what to say about it." I really do think it would be something that's very hard to ignore though, especially dating someone with such a large fan base. Number 7, Karlie Kloss. If you're a true Swiftie, I'm sure you know about the Karlie Kloss rumors. These two have had a rumored romantic relationship for ages, as well as fans speculating about Taylor's sexuality. Taylor is the queen of Easter eggs in her songs, and many think she could be hinting that there is something a little bit more going on with her friendship with Karlie. The two became friends back in 2013 when they met backstage at the Victoria's Secret fashion show. But after not being photographed together since 2018, fans have speculated that the two had a falling out. But could the two have maybe been something more? Could there be some jealousy when Joe stepped into the picture? Karlie and Taylor were lovingly named Kaylor back in 2014 when they were constantly being photographed and deemed inseparable. But after Taylor didn't attend Karlie's wedding in 2018 and Karlie didn't go to Taylor's birthday party that same year, people knew something was up. More recently though, with Folklore coming out, fans began digging into the true meaning behind these songs. Her song Illicit Affairs, Seven, and Betty were believed to be a message to fans that she could maybe be hiding some secret feelings. Fans took to Twitter at the time with one user writing, "Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss have been dating for 7 years, you can't convince me otherwise. And this is just more proof." Swifties lost their mind after Karlie posted a nearly identical photo to Taylor's album cover, writing "My Happy Place." There are even entire websites dedicated to these theories regarding the two stars. Taylor has shared a few things regarding this album though, and has said a few few words about it in her Instagram. She wrote, "Folklore is a collection of songs and stories that flowed like a stream of consciousness. Not only my own stories, but also writing from the perspective of people I've never met, people I've known, and those I wish I hadn't." Continuing on, she wrote, "The lines between fantasy and reality blur, and the boundaries between truth and fiction almost become indiscernible. Speculation over time becomes fact." What do you guys think? Could there have been something more to this relationship? Number 6, the rejected proposal. Though Taylor has revealed that her songs are mostly fiction that is based on her personal life, it's hard to not think that Champagne Problems from her album Evermore isn't about Joe. Champagne Problems is focused on a proposal, but the song doesn't end with the woman saying yes. Could this actually be with the reality of what happened? In her note on Evermore, Taylor talked about her song Champagne Problems, writing, "It's the one where longtime college sweethearts had a very different plan for the same night, one to end it and one who brought a ring." Even though she of course has never said the song was about Joe at all, her performance recently may be evidence enough. In a recent viral TikTok video with more than 3.4 million views, it shows Taylor looking like she's crying while singing the song. One user took to Twitter and wrote, "Is this why she was crying during Champagne Problems, because they broke up?" As Taylor continues her Eras tour, I'm sure we're gonna see more Easter eggs being dropped. Number 5, Midnight Rain. Could Taylor's song Midnight Rain be another look into her very private relationship? This song is about leaving behind a comfort of a healthy relationship to avoid settling. The lyrics make fans believe she's discussing her relationship with the lyrics, "He wanted it comfortable, I wanted that pain. He wanted a bride, I was making my own name. Chasing that fame, he stayed the same." Singing about a partner that was maybe just a little too perfect for her. There have been many theories as to who this song could be about, with some suggesting that it's dedicated to her ex, Tom Hiddleston, or Taylor Lautner, or even Karlie Kloss. But since the breakup rumors have come out, some now believe this song is for Joe. One fan wrote on Twitter, "Okay, now I'm wondering if Midnight Rain is really about Joe instead of Tom." Another added the recent news, "So Midnight Rain was really about Joe this whole time," followed by some frowning emojis. If this is true, fans are looking to be pretty devastated. Number 4, the set list. Looked like Taylor might actually be hinting at the breakup during her Eras tour by changing up the set list. Very last minute. Taylor ended up swapping out her song Invisible String, which appears to be about how fate brought her and Joe together. She switched it with the song The One. This has led fans to speculate that she did this to reflect what was going on in her personal life. Some of the lyrics in The One include, "If my wishes came true, it would have been you," and "You were the greatest loves of all time are over now." One fan wrote on Twitter, "Guys, if she changed Invisible String to The One because of the breakup, I do have to admit this one is a pretty clear hint to fans." One disappointed fan posted on TikTok their feelings over the breakup and the Easter eggs from Taylor, writing, "This was not the Easter egg I was hoping for this weekend. I can't imagine Joe is loving all the attention that Taylor's famous Easter eggs are bringing to the breakup." Number 3, never seen together. These two have always gone to extreme lengths in order to keep their private life private. A source even told The Sun that the singer flew to see Joe in London via private jet, and her security has made it a military-like mission to prevent her from being seen. Even sharing, "She's been walking around with Joe in London using disguises like scarves and hats to keep her identity under wraps." But why no photos, and why are they rarely seen out together at all? A source close to the star told the press, "Joe doesn't like attention or have any interest in being a celebrity." Taylor reportedly feared making the same past mistakes with Joe and is willing to go through these lengths in order to maintain their privacy. A Taylor insider told Hollywood Life, "She has been insanely private with Joe. She wanted to get to know him without all the chaos. She is terrified of making the same mistakes with her relationship with Joe. She is doing everything she can to protect her love life." All the secrecy could possibly have taken a toll on the couple, especially as Joe isn't really a fan of the Hollywood life anyways. Number 2, rumors. The couple's relationship has suffered through many rumors over the years, but could this one be the final straw? Through major publications are sharing that the two have broken up, it could just be a split, or it could just possibly be another rumor. The couple has desperately tried to hide from these rumors over the years, but with Taylor being such a huge name, this is nearly impossible. A few fans have begun speculating that the two could maybe just be going through a little bit of separation, considering their very busy schedules. There's been no response from either Joe or Taylor, which is just leading the media even more into a frenzy. The biggest evidence to support this theory is in her recent release of her song All the Girls You Loved Before, which is a romantic song which many believe has to be about Joe. A few Swifties have taken their theories to the comment section, with one writing, "According to these news articles, they broke up weeks ago, but this this song was also released by them. There's no way they broke up. Another added, am I the only one who finds the release timing of this song weird, considering what just happened? So, could this just be a rumor, or a break for some space, or is this the end of an era? Number 1, the concerts. This was a big sign that trouble was brewing between the stars. The two seemed to be completely fine, as just this past fall, they were seen in New York City and even on vacation to the Bahamas last summer, which was reportedly full of PDA. But as Taylor continues her Eras tour, Joe has been nowhere to be seen at any of her recent concerts. Even though they reportedly vowed to remain friends, could there be a bit more tension between them than sources would like us to believe? But maybe for Joe, it's good to not attend, considering it's looking like Taylor is really channeling her feelings into her music. And we all know how much he hates the spotlight.
At number 10, we have no wedding ring. Fans were shocked when it was reported that Ariana and Dalton were divorcing, though some people did claim that they knew it was coming, given the fact that Ariana was seen at a recent tennis match without her diamond wedding ring. She was photographed in the crowd at the Wimbledon men's singles final on Sunday, sitting between Andrew Garfield and Jonathan Bailey. While she was reacting to moments from the match, she would often cover her mouth with her hand, and in that way it was pretty obvious that she wasn't wearing her ring. It's possible that she had taken it off to get cleaned, but for such a high-profile event like this, that was less likely. So even though it was only rumors at that point, in this case, the absence of the wedding ring was really significant. Ariana and Dalton got engaged back in December of 2020, and she announced the happy news with an Instagram post showcasing her new rock with a super unique design. It was made up of a large oval diamond with a delicate pearl, and it looked very similar to another pearl ring that she was gifted by her grandma. So there might have been an added sentimental value there. As for the price, well, it was estimated to be worth a whopping $350,000. Number 9, living separate lives. Sources close to Ariana who know about the breakup said that the two of them have been separate since January. They began living separate lives until about May, when they decided to take a shot at their relationship again. But sadly, that only lasted 2 weeks before they both threw in the towel. Apparently, Dalton visited Ariana on the set of the movie Wicked in London, which was a part of a last-ditch attempt to save their marriage, but sadly that didn't work out. It's also been reported that he has moved on from their marriage relatively quickly and has been dating over the past few months, which Ariana is completely fine with. In fact, they've been separated for so long that both of them were apparently shocked that no one picked up on it till today. Then TMZ broke the story that they had gone their separate ways and were headed for divorce. Thankfully, they've been able to stay friends, so there's no bad blood between them. Quote, they came to this decision together. They were having problems before January, but they wanted to remain best friends. It's been said that they've been really good friends throughout the entire process, and their friends and families have been trying to protect them, most likely from going through all the messy divorce drama. Number 8, long distance. After news came out about their separation, a source spoke to People magazine about the contributing factors behind their split, and one of the biggest ones seems to be long distance. As for now, Ariana has been away from home filming the Wicked adaptation in the UK, which means that she's been away for most of the year. And in this specific situation, it's been said that absence did not make the heart grow fonder. The source claimed that she was happy in LA for a couple of years, and she really wanted to make a life there with Dalton. This worked out well for a while, considering that he was super focused on his career as a luxury real estate agent, and for that he needed to live in LA. But the demands of his career eventually became an issue for them because he was practically stuck in the city, while Ariana's work took her all over the world, and for months at a time. Apparently, when she started filming Wicked in England, they were in for a long-distance marriage, though it eventually got too hard and the relationship broke down. With all things considered, this is completely understandable, because it can be difficult to maintain a connection with someone that you can't be physically present with. Number 7, can't handle the fame. It's been said that another contributing factor in their separation was the differences between them. According to reports, Ariana and Dalton couldn't make their marriage work after the pandemic because their lives were vastly different, and that only became more obvious over time. Sources said that when they first hooked up in 2020, they were everything to each other: company, romance, and support. But when the lockdown restrictions were lifted, their differences became alarmingly apparent. Dalton was taken aback by Ariana's celebrity status. He could not comprehend her busy schedule, the intrusive paparazzi, and the various opportunities that took her out of LA. It's been said that he would sometimes question why they needed to go around town with security, which was clearly the only option for someone as famous as Ariana. In the end, it was their differences in lifestyle that started to make the marriage unravel, and it was greatly exacerbated when she went to England last December to start filming Wicked. Unfortunately, this is a story that's all too familiar. Another high-profile relationship recently ended for a similar reason. This one was between Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn. It was said that he didn't like the limelight and that he struggled with her level of fame and the attention that she got from the public. So sometimes it can be too overwhelming for the partner partner that is not used to that kind of stardom. Number 6, Dalton deactivating Instagram. Back in March, rumors started swirling about the status of their marriage when Dalton deactivated his Instagram account. This happened after he received a flood of hate comments questioning his sexuality. For whatever reason, some fans decided to target him and claim that he was in fact gay. We don't know what these comments look like, but obviously they weren't made in a nice way. Most likely, it was both homophobic and intended to bully him. So it's possible that he was just sick of getting those comments and wanted to get off of social media for a while. This was all pretty upsetting given the fact that the couple have really tried to keep a low profile since they got married. Dalton does have his own Instagram account, but he set it to private shortly after news of their relationship became public. These comments might have been the reason he deactivated his account, but apparently he didn't use Instagram regularly, so it could also mean that he just wanted to delete it for good. Unfortunately, we all know that social media is a cruel place, and in that way it couldn't have been easy for him to deal with negative attention online. When you are a public figure, you obviously get a lot more than a regular person, but someone who isn't used to that might have had their mental health impacted a bit more. Number 5, breakup rumors. Over a year ago, Ariana posted a video doing her makeup while promoting her brand REM Beauty. But it wasn't the makeup that caught everyone's attention, it was the fact that she wasn't wearing her wedding ring. If she didn't address it, fans would most likely jump to conclusions and assume that something was going on. Thankfully she did, because she already knew what the internet would say when they didn't spot her ring. She said, "I'm just not wearing my ring, it's getting cleaned. I'm not getting a divorce, so before you start, don't." So she pretty much made it very clear that she was shutting that idea down. Obviously, she has been in the spotlight long enough to know that even the smallest thing can cause a panic online, though it is telling that she felt the need to even address the speculation, because there is always a lot of misogyny going around at times like this, where people are quick to blame women anytime a relationship ends. In response to the divorce news, someone tweeted, "Ariana Grande lost 100k followers on IG following yesterday's rumors. Once again, we have proof that our world is misogynistic and that we always blame women," which is a very sad reflection of where we are as a society. At number 4, not a good fit. For the stability of a long-term relationship, it's been said that you need 2 things, chemistry and compatibility, and the latter is always more important in long term. Sadly, it seems like that just wasn't the case for Ariana and Dalton, which is not necessarily anyone's fault. An inside source spoke to Entertainment Tonight and explained that they just weren't a good fit from the start. Quote, "Ariana and Dalton tried to make things work, but ultimately they just weren't a good fit. Dalton has been very private and low-key about their relationship with his work colleagues and hasn't been talking a lot about their split." Another insider said, "Ariana and Dalton's friends have always been concerned by their whirlwind romance and felt their relationship would ultimately be short-lived. Their relationship has been rocky at different points and they've had trouble making time for each other with scheduling issues." Before Dalton, Ariana also famously dated and got engaged to SNL's Pete Davidson, which lasted just a few months. But in many ways, they suited each other very well because they were both so used to the limelight. Their relationship was very public and it was one of the most talked about of the year. Of course, that doesn't make it any better than a private one, but it goes to show you that they were very comfortable being seen out together. Number 3, controversies. Though they've managed to keep a relatively low profile since they got together, there was a moment in 2021 which earned Ariana and Dalton a ton of backlash. In June that year, a video of them resurfaced online, which was then shared by various Twitter accounts. A black and white clip showed the 2 of them with a few of their friends, and they appeared to be participating in a mockery of Native American dance. While sitting at the center of a circle, Ariana was seen to be singing, laughing, and spinning a big piece of cloth around in the air. Other people in the video were said to be making drumming sounds. They also appeared to be attempting to summon a spirit. So it's no surprise that this was deemed offensive, because it seems as though they were making fun of the culture. Soon after it was posted, Ariana deleted the video because she started receiving many negative comments about it. It's possible that fans interpreted this to be something different than what it actually was, but it's also easy to see why it was so upsetting. This incident was part of the reason why some people started to turn against them, which is why Dalton was not particularly popular with fans. Number 2, Pete Davidson's comments. Ariana's ex seemingly put her on blast months after their relationship ended, which some fans took as an outright personal attack. The 2 of them publicly revealed that they were in a relationship at the end of May of 2018. Things then moved very quickly, and they ended up getting engaged just a few weeks after their relationship started. The whole thing became something of an internet meme, and it really cemented Pete's image as a ladies' man. Several tweets that Ariana made about him created the infamous phrase "Big D energy," which Pete quickly became the face of. But just as swiftly as things started, they rapidly came to an end. Shockingly, the pop star went on to describe their romance as an amazing distraction when speaking to Vogue magazine. In response, Pete slammed her on stage during a stand-up performance when he said, "Can you imagine if I did that? My career would be over tomorrow if I spray painted myself brown and hopped on the cover of Vogue magazine and just started hating on my ex. Can you imagine?" So obviously he took those comments somewhat to heart. And coming in at number 1 at the fan reaction, news of Ariana's divorce has been getting quite a lot of attention recently, which is pretty much as expected. But what's really interesting is how people feel about Dalton now, because he's the one that seems to be getting most of the criticism. One person tweeted, "The Dalton boy dated, proposed, and married Ariana Grande, knowing very well she's Ariana Grande, then gets shocked when she's followed by security everywhere. Has he seen how her fans behave? Boy, you should have dated Normani if you wanted a normal private life." In response, another person wrote, "The same problem was at first with Miley and Liam. Girls are just too big to date someone that basic." Another fan tweeted, "What is it with these Z-listers getting into relationships with A-listers and then hating on how famous they are? Like, did you not know how famous she was before?" There were even people that blamed Dalton for stealing Ariana Grande away from her fans. They also said that these differences in their lifestyles were bound to come out when someone famous marries someone who isn't, while others expressed how pathetic it is that there are insecure, unsupportive men getting into relationships with incredible women just to bring them down.
At number 10, we have Joe pressuring Sophie to attend industry events. It should be obvious if your partner expresses how they don't want to go somewhere, maybe don't force them to go. Well, according to multiple sources, Joe was pressuring Sophie to attend these industry events with him and even talked to other people, expressing how annoyed he was when she didn't attend. Sophie sometimes would give in and go to these events with Joe. However, she allegedly also expressed discomfort as she did not want to be seen in public and further be photographed. And if you already think Joe is crossing boundaries, you are absolutely right. But wait, there's even more. Joe allegedly did all of this after his wife gave birth to their second child together back in 2022. Poor Sophie probably just wanted to recover from childbirth, plus we all know how harsh the media can be, especially when it comes to appearances of women. If Joe was a good husband, not only would he have been supportive and understanding with Sophie's decision to stay at home, but he would also not be telling other people how he is frustrated with her not leaving the house. I mean, it's nobody's business but their own, and honestly, Sophie has every right to do whatever she wants. At the end of the day, Joe did call her a homebody and he was a social butterfly, so let her just be happy and enjoy her time at home. For number 9, we have Joe's alleged sexism and misogyny. After all the news of the divorce came out, it has been pretty clear speculations jump from one side to the other. However, many believe Joe actually has a past when it comes to flipping his problems and issues, turning the narrative onto the women in the relationship. In the past, Joe has always compared and contrasted how social he was and how Sophie may not be as outgoing as him, as we stated before. So why is he now trying to make it seem like it's a bad thing Sophie's enjoying her time partying with her friends? I understand they have kids together now, but I'm sure if Joe was partying with his friends, it wouldn't be seen as a big deal. Stereotypically, women stay at home while men go out, and it seems like Joe can't get out of this 18th century's mindset. If he wanted Sophie to go out and leave the house more often, wouldn't this not bother him? Well, it seems like Joe has a tendency to flip things onto others and not treat them with respect. I mean, he did break up with Taylor Swift through a 27-second voicemail. Yup, big yikes. Well, now it seems like he is continuing his track record once again. And for our number 8 spot, we have Joe not being supportive towards Sophie after the birth of their second child. Apparently, shortly after the birth of their second daughter back in 2022, Joe was ignorant and completely lacked emotional support towards his wife. Sophie did not want to leave the house as she was recovering from literally giving birth to his child. She also did not want to be photographed right after 9 long months, which is totally understandable considering how public their lives are. And I'm sure as soon as Turner puts a foot out the door, many photos would instantly be taken of her because of the paparazzi. She has even addressed her mental health struggles in the past, and a big issue she found was being on camera at the age of 14 as the whole world picks her apart. And I'm sure it's still tough for Sophie to show up to any public appearance In the past, this former couple has talked about how Joe and Sophie's relationship building, as Joe apparently helped Sophie see herself for the true beauty she is. If Joe knew all the struggles Sophie has dealt with in the past, especially due to the judgment of her appearance, him not being supportive for her and her boundaries, especially right after birth, is just crazy to me. For number 7, we have Joe's horrible PR stunt. Oh god, although this happened recently after the couple called it splits, this PR stunt just further highlighted toxicity from Jonas, which is why it had to be included in our top 10. If you haven't heard, Joe's first public appearance since the news about his divorce was with his 2 daughters and nanny as they were photographed on a patio while they seemed to be enjoying lunch. They not only sat outside, but Joe was also sitting facing the paparazzi, which seems a little bit interesting. The worst part is these photos were the first photos of their 2 daughters the pair welcomed back in 2022 and 2020. Sophie, being a good and responsible mother, decided she didn't want her girls in the public eye in order to protect them from the media and for privacy reasons. Joe completely disregarded that and decided to use his daughters as a way to portray himself as a single, loving father of his 2 kids. Well, the internet quickly debunked that, as it was clear what his true intentions were with this PR stunt, and it was to spite Sophie. I'm sure any responsible parent, even during a divorce, would put their children first, but I guess to Joe, getting back at his ex is more important than being a father who protects their kids and respects the mother of his kids' wishes. At number 6, we have the lack of trust. I think most of us have heard the rumors circulating about the Ring doorbell. Well, if you haven't heard of it yet, basically it has been said that Joe allegedly saw or heard Sophie do something on the Ring camera that made him realize the relationship was not going to work out. The Ring doorbell captures both audio and video footage that homeowners can view through an app. And first of all, Joe, why are you checking the Ring footage? Many accuse Joseph of being a spy, especially because he's been with Sophie for 4 years. I'm sure they are able to trust each other, right? Without trust, is there even a relationship? Many fans are jumping into the conversation by tweeting and making memes about this situation for what Joe potentially heard that caused him to call it quits. Some fans say Joe heard Sophie say that Nick was her favorite Jonas brother and Camp Rock was not her favorite movie, and so much more. The memes have gone endless. In our number 5 spot, we have his family pressures. Apparently, Joe and his family have been putting the ladies against each other as they continue to compare them. And those ladies are nobody except, of course, the gorgeous Sophie Turner and Priyanka Chopra. Priyanka is the wife to Jonas' younger brother, Nick, and because it has been said that Priyanka and Nick are both on the same page when it comes to settling down and raising a family they built together, whereas Joe wants to settle down and Sophie wants to continue living her life, especially since she allegedly feels like she's missed out on her youthful years having fun and instead have been working since she was an early teen. Due to this, it has been said that Joe and his family have been constantly comparing Priyanka with Sophie, which I'm sure does not further help the situation. We also have to keep in mind Priyanka and Sophie are 2 different people, which is why it's pretty obvious they're going to want different things. Sophie did enter the spotlight at 14, which makes sense on why she feels like she missed out on her teenage and early adult years. I just think it's toxic to have your partner's family tell you who you should be more like, but also, why isn't Joe standing up for Sophie? And for number 4, we have the age gap. Although age gaps tend to be normal in relationships and aren't directly toxic, Joe did start seeing and dating Sophie when she was only 19 years old and he was 26. 7 years isn't too much of an age gap, however, considering the fact Sophie was 19, she was honestly quite young. This alone may have not been toxic, but the power imbalance can be inconsistent as Joe was almost in his late 20s and Sophie just became a legal adult. We often see age gap relationships in Hollywood and not all of the relationships end the same way Joe and Sophie's did. However, considering these 2 were apparently on different pages, it seems like the 7-year age gap started to affect them. Joe was ready to settle down with Sophie and there's 2 children, but Sophie still wants to enjoy her 20s while she can. She did get engaged to Joe when she was 21, married to him by 23, and even had their first daughter by 24. Because we know all this, no wonder Sophie feels like she's been missing out on her younger years. She did start acting at 14, and I'm sure it's hard to live a quote-unquote normal life when you are as famous as she is. Whether the age gap has anything to do with the downfall of their marriage, I personally think the fact that they both currently want different things is not further helping. And for number 3, we have the Jonas Injectables campaign. This one doesn't directly affect Sophie, but it does tell us a little bit more about Joe. Back in 2022, Joe did a campaign with a seemingly positive message about loving yourself. The advertisement was called Beauty on Your Terms. It was a way to find an alternative to face-changing surgeries and procedures that we see many in the show business get. This ad, however, was promoting an injectable solution which is the competitor for Botox, in order to smoothen and hide fine lines and wrinkles. So the whole message surrounding feeling beautiful, boosting your self-esteem, and to fit into mainstream beauty standards all stem from this product you inject, which can be a little contradicting, especially because of the campaign Jonas starred in, centered around feeling good in your own skin. And hey, there's nothing wrong with doing whatever you want to your face, but it is maybe not the best move for this campaign directly, as it takes away the message about feeling good being your own person and instead directing you into ways you can fit into Hollywood's obsession with staying young. Plus, Joe has a pretty large fan base with some young fans, and whether that's his responsibility or not, that's up for discussion. And for number 2, we have the breakup right before their wedding. Yep, sounds pretty toxic to me. Well, apparently right before the lovebirds decided to get married in 2019, they broke up for 24 hours due to both of them getting cold feet, which apparently is normal right before marriage, as you are both about to make one of the biggest commitments of your life. But not only did Joe feel this way, Sophie felt the exact same way as well. Because of this, the two split for 24 hours before they quickly decided they could overcome their feelings of cold feet and did indeed want to get married. Although this is common, I think it could be a little toxic to jump straight into a breakup when they could have talked things out before concluding to the end of their relationship. I understand it can be difficult to act rationally in high stress or emotional times, but communication is key in a relationship, and I'm sure they could have both worked through whatever emotions both parties were feeling in order to make both of them feel secure and happy moving forwards. In our number 1 spot, we have Sophie Turner's friendship with Joe Jonas's famous 12-time Grammy-winning ex-girlfriend, no one else but Taylor Swift. I'm not really sure if this is toxic for Sophie or if there's more warning flags on Joe for this one. I mean, Sophie has shown support for Taylor since 2021, showcasing her love for her music as she actively posts what she's listening to from Taylor's album. Furthermore, a song she has famously posted about in the past was Taylor's hit 2008 song Mr. Perfectly Fine, which is speculated to be about Joe Jonas. We all know how Taylor and Joe's breakup didn't end with rainbows and sunshine, so it is interesting to see a friendship spark between these two ladies. Good for them though, because Joe does have a reputation for blaming all his issues on the women in the relationship he's had in the past, so for these two girls being unproblematic towards each other even when Sophie was dating Joe, it makes me really happy for them.
So it looks like this is really it for Ariana Grande and Dalton Gomez. Page 6 has reported that the two of them are going to be divorcing. Sources close to the star said that they have been separated since January, but they've been able to stay friends, so there's no bad blood between them. Quote, they came to the decision together. They were having problems before January, but they wanted to remain best friends. Apparently, Dalton visited Ariana on the set of the movie Wicked in London, which was part of a last-ditch attempt to save their marriage, but sadly that didn't work out. It's been said that they've been really good friends throughout the entire process and that their friends and families have been trying to protect them, most likely from going through all the messy divorce drama. The speculation started over the weekend when Ariana was spotted at a tennis match without her diamond ring. She was photographed in the crowd at the Wimbledon men's singles final on Sunday, sitting between Andrew Garfield and Jonathan Bailey. She looked great with her honey blonde hair from the upcoming movie Wicked, and she was seen getting really into the match, reacting to moments by covering her mouth with her right hand. But of course, most people were focused on her left hand at the absence of her wedding ring. Some people speculated that there could have been a simple explanation. Maybe it was getting serviced or cleaned, or maybe even upgraded. Either way, it seems like everyone was wondering what was really going on and whether or not that was a sign of some kind of trouble in their relationship. On Twitter, someone wrote, "I'm sorry, I'm not really trying to start anything. I just want to know, anyone else noticed the ring finger has no ring?" Another person wrote, "Anyone else noticed Ariana Grande hasn't been wearing her wedding ring?" This latest speculation comes several months after there were rumors going around that the two of them were nearing a breakup. What happened was Dalton deactivated his Instagram account after comments were made questioning his sexuality. For whatever reason, some fans decided to target him and claim that he was in fact gay. We don't know what these comments look like, but obviously they weren't made in a nice way. Most likely it was both homophobic and intended to bully him. So it's possible that he was just sick and tired of getting these kind of comments and wanted to get off social media for a while. This is all pretty upsetting though, given the fact that the couple have really tried to keep a low profile since they got married. Dalton does have his own Instagram account, but he set it to private shortly after news of their relationship became public. But what's really interesting is that this wasn't even the first round of divorce rumors. 1 year prior, Ariana posted a video doing her makeup while promoting her brand REM Beauty, but it wasn't the makeup that caught everyone's attention, it was the fact that she wasn't wearing her wedding ring. If she didn't address it, fans would most likely jump to all kinds of conclusions and assume that something was going on. Thankfully she did, because she already knew exactly what the internet would say when they didn't spot her wedding ring. She said, "I'm just not wearing my ring. It's getting cleaned. I'm not getting a divorce, so before you start, don't." Basically, she shut that idea down completely. Obviously, she's been in the spotlight long enough to know that even the smallest thing can cause a panic online, so it makes sense that the two of them are very adamant about privacy and keeping their life off of social media. Nearly 2 years after breaking off her engagement with Pete Davidson, Ariana was spotted kissing a mystery man out in LA, who was later confirmed to be Dalton. The couple began dating in January of 2020 and spent a lot of time together at Ariana's home in New York City. In December, after almost a year of dating, Ariana announced their engagement on Instagram. She posted photos of them along with shots of her engagement ring, and in the caption she wrote, "Forever and then some." Several months later, in May of 2021, the couple tied the knot in a small ceremony at their home. Apparently there were less than 20 guests and the nuptials were informal. There was no real ceremony, it was just a casual exchange of vows. Ariana later shared photos from their wedding on Instagram. At the time, an inside source spoke to People magazine and said they're a great fit together. Dalton's entirely unfazed by the scope of her celebrity, and it's very grounding for her. He's young but mature and knows what he wants out of life. So they really seem to be great together, which makes it all the more upsetting that they're now separating.
Next up, we're discussing Keke Palmer dumping her boyfriend. Keke is iconic, a legend, and she is the moment, but it seems like her boyfriend, well now, ex-boyfriend, didn't realize that. Darius Jackson and Keke started dating in 2021 and welcomed their first child in February 2023. Now, who is Darius? Well, apparently he works as a fitness instructor at Inspire Fitness Studio. Now, during their 2 years together, the pair kept their relationship fairly private, only stepping out for a handful of events together. However, the actress announced her pregnancy in a public way, showing off her bump while hosting Saturday Night Live in December 2022. Then, during an appearance on The Tonight Show, Keke revealed that the couple were having a baby boy. Now, why did they break up? Well, Keke went to an Usher show and posted a photo of her looking beautiful in a black bodysuit under a sheer dress. Darius then quoted a tweet showing a video of her in the outfit dancing with Usher alongside the text, "It's the outfit though, you a mom." In a second tweet elaborating on his stance, he wrote, "We live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mothers to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please others, and he gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case." Now, after receiving backlash from these comments, he then deleted his Twitter. A source said Keke and Darius called it quits shortly after he called her out on Twitter, and Keke is focusing on her work and her 6-month-old son. The actor and Darius have been co-parenting, but for now, they aren't together. Now, Keke seemingly responded to the relationship drama during her appearance in Usher's music video for his single Boyfriend, which dropped on August 16th. At the end of the video, Keke wakes up in a hotel bed and answers the phone saying, "Yes, hello, what time is it? Damn it, I missed the show, I'm so tired," before looking into the camera to say, "I'm a mother, after all," with a wink, which is such a slay. I think it was for the best that she broke up with him, as mom shaming is gross, especially when it's happening to Keke, because that just doesn't make any sense. I hope Darius learns how to keep his mouth shut in his next relationship, because just wow. Keke has been asked for a comment on the whole situation, but her rep declined to comment, and according to a source, Darius is focused on an acting career and wants to put the drama behind him. In terms of co-parenting, the pair are making it work, as the source. You don't have to be in the same household to be good parents. No matter what happens though, I wish them all the best while co-parenting, because this isn't a normal breakup, there's a child involved.
I know there are a lot of Britney Spears fans out there who are not surprised at all to hear that the singer and her husband, Sam Asghari, have separated. According to TMZ, the split comes after a major argument that involves allegations of cheating. Sources revealed that about a week ago, Asghari confronted Spears over rumors that she stepped out on him. Now, when it comes to a source with direct knowledge telling TMZ, we must keep in mind that these rumors might have no basis in fact at all. That being said, a lot of fans were predicting, dare I say hoping, that their marriage wouldn't last. Apparently, Sam believed that Spears had been unfaithful, which led to a huge fight. The source also claimed that Sam had moved out of their shared home and is now living in a place of his own, and as they put it, it's only a matter of time before Sam files for divorce. divorce. Since Britney was freed from her conservatorship, fans have only become more and more concerned for her well-being, and one of the biggest factors raising eyebrows was her new husband, Sam Asghari. He's a personal trainer as well as trying to become an actor, which is not helping with the fan-appointed gold digger label. Apparently, there has been deep trouble within their marriage for months, as slowly Asghari started sleeping at the house less and less. It's also been rumored that Spears had gotten physical with him in their fights that apparently include frequent screaming matches. Reportedly, Spears has a prenup that protects her assets, but one insider said the likely end to their marriage will be a check from Britney to Sam that will at least settle things financially. If you have been following along with Britney's journey following her conservatorship, as I said earlier, people have been seeing this coming. At times in the last few years, Spears' behavior has been a bit unpredictable, and apparently Sam is over it. With that being said, Spears isn't just going to come out of a 13-year-long conservatorship and be okay. I would imagine the singer needs time to do some therapy and get used to having her freedom back. Over a decade of being treated terribly by her family, without proper mental health help or control over anything, including her own money, is going to take some time to recover from. Asghari has publicly defended Britney from the press, but privately, apparently he's frustrated. Clearly, he wasn't ready to help her do what she needed to do when it came to her getting better. Sam and Britney started dating back in 2016 when he got a gig in her music video for her song Slumber Party, in which he played her love interest. He also is a personal trainer and aspiring actor who a lot of people felt like was just dating the pop star to boost his career. Asghari even admitted in an interview that within the acting world he didn't even begin to be noticed until Britney gave him, quote, this amazing platform. Also said in an interview, Asghari talked about the door she had opened for him more affectionately than Spears herself. Following the video, the couple was practically inseparable. Throughout the Free Britney movement, Asghari often showed his support for the singer's fans, and she shared plans of marrying him and having children together. He even posted a photo of himself in a Free Britney t-shirt, which he posted to Instagram. In 2021, she was overjoyed when Sam proposed, sharing photos and videos to her social media of her ring and the pair together. Eventually, the pair tied the knot in a small private ceremony at their Thousand Oaks home, but this in itself had fans suspicious and questioning their marriage since. The whole wedding was super odd and a little suspicious when it came to who was there and what footage from it was posted online. Regardless, the pair did seem happy, and to be fair, her fans can take things a little far when it comes to the singer. With everything that has been said, no divorce documents have been filed just yet, but if it does happen sooner than later, there will be no surprise. Neither Spears nor Asghari have commented on these particular rumors yet. Let me hear your thoughts on these relationship rumors in the comments below. Do you think they're headed for divorce, or is it all just talk?
Alright, so there's already trouble brewing in Ariana's new relationship. Since the news came out that Ariana Grande is dating her Wicked co-star Ethan Slater, a lot has been revealed about his relationship to his estranged wife Lily J, and it looks like things are just getting a little too messy and a little too public for Ariana. TMZ reported that she and Ethan have not seen each other in person for quite some time, because apparently she wants to give him space to try to work things out with his ex, at least in terms of co-parenting. He and Lily have a baby together, and it's been said that they have been communicating regularly with each other about their plans for separating. Ethan filed for divorce on Wednesday while Ariana separated from her husband Dalton Gomez, and is said to be in the process of divorcing. A source told Entertainment Tonight Ariana and Dalton both realized that they were very different people and quietly separated earlier this year. Ariana and Ethan connected as friends first because they have a lot in common and many similar interests. They went on to say Ariana and Ethan recently started dating. They have a lot in common and have a lot of fun. They didn't start dating until both of them were broken up with their significant others. And yes, it looks like Ariana and Ethan are actually taking some time apart right now. He is currently in New York while she went to LA for the weekend, and both of them have been filming on and off in London. But as for Lily J, she was allegedly surprised by the end of her marriage and told another story to Page 6. She said, Ariana is a story really, not a girl's girl. My family is just collateral damage. The story is her and Dalton. An inside source spoke more about her feelings and said she's telling Ethan and others that she only cares about protecting their child. She's rightfully upset because her marriage fell apart, but Ariana and Ethan didn't do anything wrong. Ethan is trying to take the high road and hopes he can resolve the situation for the sake of their child. While it sounds like there's a lot of hurt feelings all around, there's no denying that this situation seems a lot worse for Lily. It was said that she was blindsided by Ethan's relationship with Ariana. She was with him for 10 years and they were high school sweethearts, so she's understandably devastated. Just last November, Ethan posted an anniversary tribute to his wife on Instagram, where he wrote, "My best friend, 4 years married, 10 years together, and this is easily the best and most bizarre year yet." And the craziest part about that is that Ariana liked the post, so that somehow makes everything a lot worse. And that wasn't the only post that she interacted with from his Instagram. On May 14th, he posted posted a photo of his son and dedicated a post to Lily for Mother's Day, where he wrote, "Happy first Mother's Day to the most loving, caring, and wonderful mom/person in the world, from me and this little guy." And yes, Ariana liked that one too. Also keep in mind that this was only about 2 months ago, and to add to that, their baby isn't even a year old yet. So how did this whole thing happen? Well, an insider spoke to People magazine about what it was really like on the set of Wicked, and apparently what was happening between Ariana and Ethan was very obvious. Quote, "It was obvious on the set from early on. They were very sweet to each other and often seen laughing together. Everyone just thought they were both happily married though and didn't expect them to end up dating." A second source claimed that the two of them did not get together romantically until both of them were separated from their spouses, essentially saying that there was no crossover whatsoever. As for Ariana and Dalton, fans were shocked when the news broke that they were divorcing after only 2 years of marriage. Sources close to them said that they have been separated since January. It's also been said that they were living separate lives until around May, when they decided to take another shot at their relationship. But sadly, that only lasted 2 weeks before they both threw in the towel. It was a last-ditch attempt to save their marriage, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Thankfully though, they have been able to stay friends, so there's no bad blood between them. A source spoke to TMZ and claimed that Ariana was happy in LA for a couple of years, and she really wanted to make a life there with Dalton. This worked out well for a while, considering that he is super focused on his career as a luxury real estate agent, and for that he needs to live in LA. But the demands of his career eventually became an issue for them because he was practically stuck in the city, while her work took her all over the world, and for several months at a time. It's been said that another contributing factor in their separation was the differences between them. According to reports, they couldn't make their marriage work after the pandemic, because their lives were vastly different, and that only became more obvious over time. Dalton was taken aback by Ariana's celebrity status, so he could not comprehend her busy schedule, the intrusive paparazzi, and the various opportunities that took her out of LA. It's also been said that he would sometimes question why they needed to go around town with security, which was clearly the only option for someone as famous as Ariana. In the end, it was their differences in lifestyle that started to make the marriage unravel, and now it looks like she's well and truly moved on. So there's been some big news going on over the weekend. It seems like everyone's favorite couple, Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner, are headed for a divorce. Sources with direct knowledge spoke to TMZ and said that Joe had his people contact at least 2 divorce lawyers in LA, and apparently he is on the cusp of filing divorce documents to end his marriage. It's been said that the couple have had some serious problems in their relationship for at least 6 months. According to TMZ, over the last 3 months, Joe has been caring for their 2 young children pretty much all of the time, even while his band was touring. On the surface, it seems like there's been no outward signs of trouble. They recently sold their Miami mansion and seem to be happier than ever. Joe and Sophie also attended a lot of events together, but in recent weeks he's been photographed without his wedding ring quite a lot. This news was clearly pretty shocking, since the couple is literally a fan favorite. They know how to deliver a masterclass in couple coordinated red carpet wear, and over the years they've become one of the most enviable yet still relatable Hollywood couples out there. At last year's Met Gala, they coordinated their outfits, both wearing black Louis Vuitton looks. Sophie chose a gothic bride-inspired ensemble, which consisted of a floor-length embellished black dress with black platform heels, while Joe wore a white tuxedo with a long lace coat tail and silver jewelry. The two of them first linked up in 2016, and they got engaged a year later. In 2019, they were married in a Vegas-style wedding and have been living the family life ever since. They welcomed their first kid in 2020 and then another one in 2022. So it's safe to say that a lot has happened for them in the past 4 years. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar UK in 2019, Sophie spoke about their meeting, and she basically said that they got set up. She explained that they had a lot of mutual friends and that they've always been trying to introduce them for a long time. Apparently they were following each other on Instagram, and Joe direct messaged her one day out of the blue. When describing him, she said, "He's lovely, he's just the funniest. You wouldn't expect he's about to turn 30 this year. He's the most fun, energetic, positive person I've ever seen. I'm pessimistic, so we balance each other out." Soon after that meeting, Joe invited her to meet up with his tour that was passing through the UK. She said that the two of them had an instant connection, even though she hadn't expected to like him. Quote, "He didn't bring security, he brought a friend and they drank just as hard as the rest of us. I remember us two spending only a couple of minutes on the dance floor, and then we found a space in the far corner and we just talked." Sophie went on to say, "We talked for hours and hours and hours, and I wasn't bored. It wasn't contrived, it wasn't small talk, it was just so easy. Soon we were inseparable, and then I went on tour with him." Professionally, Joe and Sophie have both been very busy these days. Joe has gone on tour with his brothers recently and is scheduled to perform through the winter. Sophie's done some more acting stuff in recent years, but she isn't nearly as active during her Game of Thrones days. Despite the divorce rumors, or maybe because of them, Joe's wedding band was seen back on his finger over the weekend. time. He was pictured sporting his ring during a Jonas Brothers concert in Austin, Texas, and it definitely seemed like he was making a statement. In a series of photos posted by PopCrave on Twitter, his gold wedding band could be clearly seen on his left hand while he was performing on stage. Not only that, but Sophie was there too, and he also sang a love song that he wrote for her during the stop on their North American tour. His wedding band was also visible in a snap shared on the official Jonas Brothers Instagram account on Saturday. The caption read, "Happy Labor Day weekend, everyone. This tour has been incredible so far. Having a little family time in the Texas sunset tonight before a big Austin show tomorrow." Apart from that, the two of them have also been pretty active on social media. On August 15th, Sophie marked her husband's 34th birthday on Instagram. She posted a photo of them wearing matching green and white striped pajamas, and it's clear that she still wanted to make him feel appreciated. In this case though, no matter what happens, Sophie and Joe are still going to be amazing parents to their two daughters. So divorce is not going to be the end of that kind of relationship. We have news about Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott's chaotic relationship. Apparently they've called it quits once again. According to Us Weekly insiders, the couple spent the holiday season apart, and they are no longer a romantic item. Quote, "They were supposed to spend the holidays together, but she went to Aspen to be with her family and friends up there. This happened so many times before. They're known to be on and off again, but always remain friends and great co-parents." If you didn't know, Kylie and Travis are parents to two children, a son named Wolf who is nearly 1 year old, and a daughter named Stormy who is 4. They've been up and down for so many years, but it's seemingly been in a steady and committed relationship since the spring of 2021. Following their split in 2019, the couple sparked reconciliation rumors several times. Last year, a source told In Touch Weekly that they're navigating their relationship journey and want to make it work this time around, but they've also been through their highs and lows since then. Neither felt ready to settle down and were both busy working on their own project, but having a child who they both love and adore ended up bringing them closer together. While we don't know the reason for their breakup this time around, Travis was exposed for cheating on Kylie in the past, which is something he still adamantly denies. Back in October, the rapper was battling allegations that he cheated on Kylie with his ex-fling, model Regine Carr, who also goes by the name of Young Sweetro on Instagram, and his defense was embarrassingly bad. The internet started swirling with rumors when Regine shared video proof of herself on the same set as Travis on her Instagram story. This fueled speculation that the two were linking up yet again, because back in 2019, they were also accused of having an affair, which caused Kylie to break up with Travis, but both parties denied it at the time. The thing is, this latest accusation would have probably flown under the radar if Travis had not spoken up and made the whole situation so much worse. He said, "An uninvited person was sneaking photos on what was supposed to be a closed set while I was directing a video. Okay, this might have been plausible, but then he said, I don't know this person, I've never been with this person, so please stop with the continuous cyber games and the fictional storytelling." But he probably wished that he never responded at all, because when he pretended not to know Regine, that was clearly the last straw for her. She then exposed him big time and posted a series of videos, all to her Instagram story coming clean about their affair. She said, "What we're not gonna do is we're not gonna lie. I pretended I didn't know you, went along with whatever effing narrative no matter how much BS I got from it. But to say you don't know me and you've never been with me when you've definitely been with me, when everybody's seen you with me, when I have pictures and videos of you with me, come on." She essentially said that she and Travis had been in a long-term relationship for years, and that she's been pressured to keep quiet about it all this time. In fact, Regine claimed that she spent Valentine's Day with Travis, just days after the birth of he and Kylie's second child together. She said, "You cheat on that B word every single effing night. The whole effing city sees it. Don't do this." Then if you thought the drama was done, Travis, for whatever reason, could not seem to stop himself from responding, and then immediately deleted his comments. So clearly the model was sick to death of sneaking around all this time and constantly denying the affair. She said, "All this stuff is stupid. The internet doesn't matter, and I hope you guys just remember that none of it is the real world. The only person the internet is the real world for is Miss Jenner, because that's how she effing eats." And what did Travis say to this? Well, he just called her delusional. But clearly his past keeps coming back to haunt him if he and Kylie have broken up once again.
Let's jump right in with Rosalia and Rauw Alejandro's decision to call off their wedding. 2023 is only at its halfway point, and it's already home to multiple high-profile breakups, with Rauw and Rosalia's story just adding to an already long list. The Spanish singers, who've recently crossed over into the mainstream pop scene but have dominated Latin charts for years now, first met in August of 2021, going public with their relationship the following month on social media. In March of 2022, the Alejandro had asked her to marry him after only 8 months of dating. In the music video for their song Beso, which was featured in their joint EP titled RR. That March was also when Rosalía revealed that she'd gotten RR tattooed on her foot, initials that both her and Alejandro share. The next month, Alejandro revealed that he had Rosalía inked above his navel. Later that month, the couple opened up about their bond in a Billboard interview, revealing that they've learned so much from each other to apply what their relationship has taught them to their work. Alejandro saying, "Rosie has a more solid music base than I do, and in the sense that I'm more extroverted in my music, but she's far more disciplined. But she's a freak crazy workaholic. Piano lessons, dance lessons, voice lessons. What else can you learn when no one sings like you? At the beginning I didn't really get it, but after some time I said, okay, let me try and follow her lead and see, and the difference is huge." Rosalía added that her then fiance was apparently far more relaxed than she was, which helped her keep her balance, adding, quote, "Of course my career is super important in my life, but at the same time, in my life, Alejandro is my companion and everything else comes second." It seemed that their relationship was a stabilizing force for both of them, so it's surprising that yesterday, People magazine confirmed that the duo announced that they're going their separate ways after dating for more than 3 years. Even if they aren't sharing vows, they sure are still connected for life with those aforementioned tattoos, so it's good that sources have said that despite their agreement to end their engagement, the singers still have love and respect for one another. Although fans and publications alike have pride, there is no further elaboration or explanation as to why the Spanish singers decided to call it quits. It's especially shocking since the breakup seemingly came out of nowhere. In fact, many Twitter and TikTok users assumed the news was fake when they first heard, but while a lot of the now ex-couple supporters are certainly upset about the news, a lot of them are stoked. Since both of these singers are extremely talented and incredibly attractive, the fact that they're both newly on the market has people unsurprisingly excited. However, it's not like we'd ever have a chance.
Alright, so it looks like Sofia Vergara and her husband Joe Manganiello have separated and are divorcing after 7 years of marriage. The couple released a statement to Page 6 and said, "We have made the difficult decision to divorce. As two people that love and care for one another very much, we politely ask for respect of our privacy at this time, as we navigate this new phase of our lives." An inside source said, "Sofia and Joe have been growing apart for a while now and are taking some distance from each other to contemplate their future. Some fans have noticed that the two of them have not been seen together as often as they used to. Right now, Sofia is in Italy with her best friend celebrating her 51st birthday, and she recently posted a few sexy photos on Instagram. But people in her comment section were quick to call out Joe's absence and wondered if they were going through something in their relationship. Joe did post a birthday tribute to his wife on Instagram, but the message didn't seem overly warm or personal. He simply wrote "Happy birthday Sofia" in Spanish, and fans were questioning his post since he didn't refer to her as his love or his wife, and compared to his previous ones, it just seemed a little obligatory. Another source that spoke to Page 6 claimed that he was supposed to be there with her in Italy, but he never ended up going. Quote, "At the start of Sofia's big birthday trip, those close to her were explaining away Joe's absence, with the excuse that he was busy filming back on the East Coast. That excuse barely held up due to the writer's strike, but once the actor's strike took effect, he could have been on the first flight, and he quite clearly is not. So now no one out there with her is even attempting to pretend that it's not over. It is over, it's done." While it's not unusual for a couple to grow apart over the years, these two were definitely a fan favorite. They married in a lavish Palm Beach ceremony in 2015 in front of 400 guests, including almost all of the cast of Modern Family. So Ariel Winter, Ed O'Neill, Eric Stonestreet, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Julie Bowen, Sarah Hyland, and Ty Burrell. As for Joe, his co-stars from True Blood were also there, people like Anna Paquin and Stephen Moyer. Other celebrities were also in attendance, including Reese Witherspoon and Channing Tatum. So it was just such an amazing guest list. Sofia and Joe met for the first time through Jesse Tyler Ferguson at the White House Correspondents Association dinner back in 2014, and there was instant chemistry between the two of them. In fact, it was so strong that Sofia broke off her engagement to a businessman called Nick Loeb, who she was seeing at the time. Apparently, Joe asked for her number a few weeks later when she split up with Nick. He told People magazine in 2020 that he knew pretty quickly that he could trust her, and she knew pretty quickly that she could trust him. He said they're both the kind of people who are capable of putting the other person ahead of themselves. He was capable of putting her wishes ahead of his own, whatever they were, and she was capable of doing the same. In his opinion, once you have that, you don't let go of it. So it's really sad to see that they have decided to go their separate ways. But they're not the only celebrity couple that's now getting a divorce. Ariana Grande and her husband of 2 years, Dalton Gomez, have also decided to call it quits. Sources close to the star said that the two of them have been separated since January, but they've been able to stay friends, so there's no bad blood between them. Quote, "They came to the decision together. They were having problems before January, but they wanted to remain best friends." Apparently, Dalton visited Ariana on the set of the movie Wicked in London, which was part of a last-ditch attempt to save their marriage, but sadly that didn't work out. It's been said that they've been really good friends throughout the entire entire process, and their friends and families have been trying to protect them. It's also been reported that Dalton is now dating other people and has been for a few months, which is something that's completely fine with Ariana. Insiders have also spoken out about what led to the end of their relationship. Apparently, Dalton was taken aback by Ariana's celebrity status when the pandemic restrictions were lifted, so he would sometimes question why they needed to go around town with security, which is something that was a must for her. These major differences made the marriage unravel, and being long distance also added tension when she started filming Wicked in England. And as we all know, being long distance is tough on a relationship, especially one as new as that. Thankfully, they seem to have been able to remain friends, at least as far as we know. Okay, so let's talk about the most shocking news to come out of the weekend. The fact that Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn have allegedly broken up after 6 years together. Entertainment Tonight reported on Saturday that the two of them quietly split up a few weeks ago. So let's see if we can answer the question that everyone's asking. Who broke up with who? Well, according to an inside source close to Taylor, the split was amicable and it was not very dramatic. They said the relationship had just run its course. It's why Joe hasn't been spotted at any shows. While this does make sense, fans have done a little bit of digging and they've now come up with a few theories about what really happened. They think one of the songs they wrote together may have been about their own relationship and could hint at the reason for their split. Hours after the news broke, a video surfaced online of Taylor crying while performing the song Champagne Problems. She wore a red gown and played piano while she was singing the lyrics, "She would have made such a lovely bride. What a shame she's effed in the head," they said, "but you'll find the real thing instead. She'll patch up your tapestry that I shred." The song is about a man proposing to a woman and getting turned down. It tells the story of a couple who deal with a failed proposal. It tells a story of a couple who've dealt with this failed proposal even though their family members have already popped the champagne in celebration. At the time, Taylor and Joe were dealing with engagement rumors, so some people feel that Champagne Problems tells a story about the demise of their own relationship. Fans speculated that they ended things because he really wanted to get married and she didn't. There's also the idea that her song Midnight Rain is about him too. The lyrics describe Taylor leaving behind the comfort of a healthy relationship to avoid settling for something less. She sings, "He wanted a bride, I was making my own name, chasing that fame, he stayed the same, all of me changed like midnight." She goes on to sing about an ex-boyfriend who was a little too perfect, so much so that she decided to end the relationship to focus on her own career instead. Of course, because of the timing, she was most likely talking about someone like Tom Hiddleston, who she dated for 3 months earlier on in her career. But some people think it also applied to her relationship with Joe. Even though there are a million different fan theories circulating around the internet, it's important to note that neither of them have actually come out and confirmed their breakup, although it's no wonder that people are genuinely shocked. Just a few weeks ago, it was reported that Joe was traveling with Taylor on her Eras tour, and he planned to be at a few of her concerts. Not only that, but the two of them have worked very hard to keep most of their relationship private. Over the years, they've had to deal with countless rumors that they secretly got engaged and married on the down low. This speculation reached new heights when Taylor was seen with a large ring on her finger in the documentary Miss Americana. With the release of Lover in 2019, this theory was absolutely everywhere. Joe eventually spoke out about this in an interview with WSJ magazine. He said, "If I had a pound for every time I think I've been told I've been engaged, then I'd have a pound of coins. I mean, the truth is, if the answer was yes, I wouldn't say. If the answer was no, I still wouldn't say." For her part, Taylor addressed the speculation in her song Lavender Haze. The track is filled with feminist symbolism and explores her feelings about being not only a woman in a heteronormative relationship, but also being famous on top of that. She sings about the never-ending speculation that she and Joe are engaged, secretly married, or planning to have children. The lyrics say, "They keep asking me if I'm going to be your bride. The only kind of girl they see is a one night or a wife." When speaking about the inspiration behind that song, she said, "When you're in the lavender haze, you'll do anything to stay there and not let people bring you off that cloud. I think that a lot of people have to deal with this now, not just like public figures, because we live in the era of social media, and if the world finds out you're in love with somebody, they're going to weigh in on it." She explained that she and Joe have had to dodge weird rumors, tabloid stuff, and they just ignore it. So Lavender Haze is about the act of ignoring that stuff to protect the real thing. Apart from keeping their relationship private, they also seem to be very good at supporting each other's careers. They even started collaborating on music together over the pandemic. and apparently Joe wrote several songs under the pseudonym William Bowery. So many of these were featured in Folklore and Evermore, and those albums were hugely successful. Folklore ended up taking home the 2021 Grammy for Album of the Year, and Evermore was nominated for the same award at the 2022 ceremony. During her acceptance speech, Taylor gave him a shout out. She said, "Joe is the first person that I play every single song that I write, and I had the best time writing songs with you in quarantine." The actor is credited as a co-writer on the songs Betty, Exile, Champagne Problems, Coney Island, and Evermore. So they obviously had a great relationship if they could create music like that together. Even though most fans were upset at the idea of them splitting up, others are a little more optimistic about the whole thing. Because if it's really true, that means we'll be getting some pretty amazing breakup songs in the next couple of months. Alright, now let's talk about Billie Eilish breaking up with Jesse Rutherford. Billie's rep spoke to Page 6 and said, "We can confirm that Billie and Jesse did split amicably and remain good friends. All cheating rumors are false. Both are currently single." To some, this does come as a surprise, seeing that they haven't been seen together since Coachella in April. Billie then attended the Met Gala in May without Jesse by her side. Later that night, she was seen getting cozy with actress Ava Capri, who is queer, though her boyfriend was nowhere in sight. So far, news of their breakup has been going across Twitter, and it's very easy to tell how fans feel about it. People wrote things like, "Thank God for that, she deserves so much better," and "Keep that old man away from her." When Jesse and Billie became an item in mid-October, everyone was kind of shocked. They were spotted holding hands at Halloween Horror Nights. Days later, they were photographed publicly making out outside of a popular restaurant in LA. Concerns were raised almost immediately around their 11-year age gap. This feeling got worse when photos were leaked of their couple's Halloween costume. Billie dressed up as a baby and Jesse went as an old man. So it's easy to see why a lot of people felt grossed out by that, because it plays right into the creepy stuff. A few months later, things got even worse when it was reported that Billie and Jesse have known each other since 2017, when she was 15 and he was 26. The fact that she was a big fan of his didn't sit right with a lot of people either, considering how easily she could have been influenced by someone that she considered to be her favorite artist. This new information really called into question the idea of what's appropriate and what's not in an age gap relationship. In November, she did her annual interview with Vanity Fair, which clearly hasn't aged well. She had been dating Jesse for 1 or 2 months by that point, and she could not stop gushing about him. She said, "Yeah, I do have a boyfriend now, and it's really cool, and I'm really excited, and I'm really happy about it." She also said that her love language is physical touch, and she values her freedom in a relationship because she doesn't want to be controlled. When talking about Jesse, she said, "I managed to get myself to a point in my life where I not only was known by a person that I thought was the hottest guy alive, but I pulled him," as though dating Jesse was such a big achievement. She then said, "Can we just get a round of applause for me?" So at this point, she had already heard a lot of the judgment surrounding their relationship, which she also addressed in that interview. Billie said, "Say what you need to say, but I am in control right now. I did this." Even though she seemed to be very pleased with their romance, the comments under that video were vicious. People called her delusional and manic. Now, a lot of them are revisiting that interview since the breakup, and they're basically rubbing it in. Someone wrote, "I knew that this would age like milk. I cannot believe she did not anticipate this being embarrassing one day." Another person said, "This is one of those things you say on half-priced margarita night with your girls, not in front of millions of people." Some of them even roasted Jesse's looks and joked about the fact that Billie had no competition because no one else was lining up to date him. So far, the reaction to their breakup is pretty much one big "I told you so." Although looking back on their relationship, it wasn't all bad. They did have their fair share of iconic fashion moments, like when they made their debut as a couple in Gucci pajamas. They were wrapped in a giant blanket and accessorized the look with an eye mask and slippers. Billie wore a crop top and a long skirt with a lace trim slit and a long robe that was all monogrammed in Gucci's signature house print. As for Jesse, he wore a silky loungewear set including a button-up shirt and trousers, and he finished off with a pair of Gucci house slippers. The PJs were definitely a surprise given the formality of the gala. Then a few days after her birthday, Jesse attended a Christmas-themed party where they wore matching outfits. Billie wore a Mrs. Claus-inspired red velvet dress, and he wore a red sweater over a whole button-down with green slacks. Then in March, they were seen at the Vanity Fair Oscars after party together. Again, they looked super stylish and coordinated. She wore a sweeping black gown while he wore a black suit with a flower pin to his lapel, and he wore a kind of clown makeup with a painted red nose and blue tear streaks. So even though these two have parted ways, at least we can look back on their red carpet moments and say that they had some pretty good style.
For our number 10 spot, we have Supporting Criminals. For some background, the two met on the set of That 70s Show when Kutcher was 20 and Mila was just One of their fellow co-stars, Danny Masterson, was just recently sentenced to 30 years of jail time. This is due to the horrifying acts he has committed back in 2001 to 2003, during the height of his fame. We can't go into detail since it is some graphic information, so feel free to read more about it online if you want more detail. However, Mila and Ashton are facing huge backlash, and in my opinion, for a very reasonable and valid reason. They have written letters of support towards Masterson, which was devastating for the survivors in the situation. These letters date back to July 27th of this year, with Kutcher describing Masterson as someone who treated others with quote-unquote decency, equality, and generosity, and even called him an exceptional older brother figure. So many people were mad, and rightfully so. Ashton even said in the letter how he does not believe Masterson is not going to cause ongoing harm to the society, which is just wow. Mila and Ashton then came forward with an apology due to the huge backlash they began to face, and they apologized for any harm they have caused the victims due to the letters. Ashton then said those letters quote-unquote were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that, and we're sorry if that has taken place. What do you guys think about Mila and Ashton's statements? I would love to hear your opinions on the situation. And for number 9, we have Kutcher talking about young girls, and not in a friendly way, but in a kind of creepy and gross way. Actually, one of Danny Masterson's accusers and former girlfriends, Chrissy Cornell Bixler, resurfaced one of the videos, which was taken in 2003 when Kutcher was 25, and these disturbing clips show Ashton talking about the very young Hilary Duff. He says she is one of those girls we're all waiting to turn 18, and I'm not sure who we are, Ashton, but yikes. He followed that up by saying along with the Olsen twins. This disturbing comment raises huge red flags as these girls were so young, and for a grown man to say these things about them is disturbing. Unfortunately, videos such as this one has resurfaced surrounding other celebrities as well, such as MGK, also known as Machine Gun Kelly, and the video showed the then 23-year-old MGK discussing how he needed to wait for Kendall Jenner to turn 18. What is with those creepy comments? It is quite disturbing what Hollywood allows you to get away with, because that is so wrong in so many different ways. For number 8, we have a creepy dare. In a 2002 clip where Kunis and Kutcher discussed the age gap between the characters the two played in That 70s Show, Mila played Jackie and Ashton played the role of Michael. These two characters had an on-screen romance that slowly caused the two to fall in love in real life as well, years later. Well, during an interview with Rosie O'Donnell, Kutcher revealed a disgusting dare Danny himself told Ashton to do. Masterson told Kutcher he would give him $10 to kiss the much younger Mila Kunis. Mila actually interrupted the boys during their conversation to say Masterson actually bet her $20 Kutcher wouldn't do it. Rosie O'Donnell followed up by stating, "Then the cops showed up and you got arrested?" Kutcher then responded to O'Donnell with, "They should've, but they didn't." Keep in mind, Ashton was 20 and Danny was 22, which means they definitely knew what they were doing, and it was definitely wrong. Yeah, it can be looked upon as a stupid dare, but come on, this is wrong on so many levels. I mean, on-screen kisses for your job are one thing, but French kiss for a dare? This situation definitely does not look good for Kutcher, and especially Masterson, as the intentions behind this dare don't seem to be innocent. Kunis during the interview addressed her emotions at the time by saying she never kissed a boy at the time, and although she found Kutcher attractive, she was still so young and quote-unquote extremely scared for my life. In our 7th spot, we have Kutcher's unspoken secrets. Chrissy Bixler, who we talked about earlier, has recently come out on Instagram with a story that was shocking. In case you forgot, Bixler was one of the survivors of Masterson, and she was a former girlfriend of his. Her Instagram story went as a response after Kutcher and Kunis had the letter that was shared and made it public. She goes on by stating how she knows all the secrets Masterson kept for him, and stating she knows things that would end him. Apparently, she was there during Masterson and Kutcher's February 21st, 2001 phone call, and she says she heard the plan and even compared Kutcher and stated how he is equally as sick as Masterson. What was heard by Bixler was unclear, but that date is very important as we will further discuss this later on. Bixler then addresses Mila directly and states she is praying for Mila to recognize and process what has happened on set. She then encourages others to watch Mila's old interviews, as her old interviews are very telling, and want to raise awareness to these videos before they are wiped. She then further addressed what happened in Toronto, and although Bixler did not directly state what happened, she did say she remembers what happened in Toronto and after, following with this direct statement. Question: if that is what you view from a big brother figure, then I feel very sad for you, and I hope you consider getting into therapy movie. And wow, whatever Bixler is talking about surely says a lot about the men on this show, especially since they were all more than 5 years older than Kunis. I'm glad Bixler is speaking out, and I'm sure it isn't easy talking about situations where the public has big opinions. In our number 6 spot, we have Mila lying about her age. There has been rumors circulating for quite some time now on whether Mila Kunis really did lie about her age when talking to producers of That 70s Show. Well, Mila Kunis has come on record after 24 long years that she did in fact lie in order to secure her role as Jackie. She admitted to an interview with Vanity Fair that it was indeed true, as she told producers she was almost 18 in order for them to let her audition. And by almost, she meant maybe 1, 2, 3, nope, 4 more years to go, which would have made her 14 years old when the show started filming. I'm surprised she was actually able to get away with this, but hey, she did land the role, which is quite impressive, especially knowing how young she was when she auditioned. However, we all know her being as young as she was has caused major red flags when it comes to the cast, but at the end of the day, she was still a child and could not understand the issues potentially surrounding this. For our number 5 spot, we have Bixler accusing Ashton for not revealing as much as he knows about the 2001 death of Ashley Ellern. Before we discuss this one, these are all accusations and speculation, so take this with a grain of salt. But back in 2001, Ashton was supposed to pick up Ashley for a date. However, she never answered the door when he arrived, and Ashton then left assuming she wasn't home, and he later played a part in the sentencing as he testified back in court in 2019. Bixler claimed that Kutcher knew more about the crime than he let on, and Kutcher always said he remembered seeing what he thought was red wine stains on the rug, which he later found out was not wine. The police ended up questioning him, and he was fearful as he remembered his handprints and DNA were all over the door, and he ensured he let police know in advance. After this, he was shortly ruled out as a suspect. Well, according to Bixler, do you remember how we mentioned the February 21st date? Well, that was the day Ashton was supposed to go on a date with Ashley when he ended up leaving because she didn't answer the door. Well, Bixler was dating Masterson at the time and claimed that same day Ashton had actually called Masterson, and the entire conversation was on speaker, which allowed Bixler to hear all the details. Although she has not directly talked about what happened, she implied he is hiding more than he has admitted to. In fact, her direct quote is as stated, "Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan." Bixler did not further discuss what plan she is talking about. However, Ashton has always claimed he did not know what happened to Ashley until the next day. So what happened on this phone call? Ashton has not yet commented on the situation, and I can't imagine how the family of Ashley are feeling as all of this are resurfacing, and I hope they're able to find closure. In our number 4 spot, we have another video resurfacing where Ashton is outright creepy towards Mila. For a video Mila was promoting for That 70s Show, the video seemed normal at first as Mila was just talking to the camera, but once she moves over, she reveals Ashton is right behind her. Ashton reveals in the video the only reason why he is even doing this video promotion in the first place is because Josh told him Mila would sit on his lap if he did, and the two began laughing. Kutcher even follows by saying, "And it feels good." This definitely does not help the situation as he was an adult during this time. Kutcher and Masterson has always been close friends, and with Masterson being the oldest one on set, they reportedly looked up to him as a role model and big brother. Videos of Masterson were also resurfaced that were quite similar to the ones we just talked about with Ashton. The two men clearly did not show Mila any respect or give her any boundaries, and the fact she was very young at the time, this poor girl probably did not even realize how bad the situation really was. In the 3rd spot, we have Mila's old interviews discussing how she has no idea what the writers are thinking. The reason why this is such a warning sign is because the interviewer was questioning Mila, who was 19 during this taping, about her character as Jackie. And Jackie was seen as a promiscuous character, and Mila even says that she is the only person who has kissed every single one of their co-stars except for Topher. She even states how it is upsetting for her parents as well. The interviewer even says to Mila how all of this is so wrong, which Mila agrees with him. He further asked her what the writers were thinking, and she even says she's unsure, but it's her job to do what the script says. The interviewer said he was worried for her, which is upsetting that Mila had to go through this all so young. These old interviews are very telling as she does seem to be aware of how all of this is not okay. I really hope Mila is able to find peace when it comes to her early years on the show, as it seems to have red flags all over it. Although Mila should have not supported Masterson, it is clear in the past she has been a victim as well. In our number 2 spot, we have Ashton being contradictory of his own beliefs. It seems people are also angry at Ashton because he has always shown a passion towards ending trafficking making, as he is a co-founder of Thorn alongside Demi Moore. Thorn was established in 2012 and aims to create and develop technology to assist with aiding those who are being trafficked. The company focuses on 3 principles, which are to accelerate with victim identification, equipping, and empowering. It seems the message of empowerment is unfortunately backfiring at Kutcher because his statements seem to be extremely damaging, not only towards the direct survivors in Masterson's case, but to all the people who have been through similar situations. Thorn has really made a positive impact, and it is upsetting for Ashton's statements towards Masterson to feel like he's almost taking a huge step backwards. Hopefully he is able to recognize this and remembers he is fighting for those who are survivors and not going against them. In our number 1 spot, we have their failed apology. As we discussed earlier, the couple faced major backlash after their letters of support to their former co-star Masterson was made public. The two took to Instagram and shared an apology video. However, I don't think the video went as planned, and eventually they did have to turn off their comment section. Many people are calling them out by calling them insincere and claiming they're only coming forward with this apology because they were caught. Some sources say that the two did not know these letters were gonna be made public. People tore their video apart as they claimed there was no substance or accountability taken. It was clear Bixler, who was one of the survivors of Masterson himself, was angered, and rightfully so. Many celebrities also took their opinions, including Amy Schumer, Christina Ricci, and Grace Tame. It is clear the majority are not siding with Kutcher or Kunis on this one, as their apology does not seem to aid their case at all.
Coming in at number 10, the first celebrity will be Martin Short. Now, Martin Short, who was interviewed alongside whoever, isn't a recent call out. In fact, not many celebrities have negative things to say about Fallon currently amidst all the controversy. Rather, when they have had things to say to the man, they all tend to do it in the moment, as will be evident by many of the circumstances on this list. However, following the reports that Fallon allegedly created an ugly environment behind the scenes on The Tonight Show, a resurfaced clip of Martin Short calling him out for being fake started making the rounds on Twitter. And I gotta say, Martin went in, telling Jimmy, "This is the great show on television because there is no host in late night that pretends to care the way that you do." While Jimmy awkwardly laughs and thanks him, Martin continues to say, "I mean, no one captures phoniness the way you do. It's a gift." Steve Martin decided to chip in, since he was the other guy at the interview, adding, "Yeah, when I'm at home watching the show, which is rare, I think for somebody who does a certain substance, your teeth look great." And because the two hadn't dug Jimmy enough, Short adds in the finishing touch of, "You prove that tall, handsome white men can make it in show business." You may be wondering, did Fallon prompt this roast in any way? Actually, no. The interview with the two men only makes it 45 seconds in before they start going off on him, which is why Jimmy kind of awkwardly sits there and takes it. Number 9 will be Tina Fey. Kind of. Again, she's not really calling him out. It's similar to the Martin clip. An excerpt of her 2011 memoir, Bossy Pants, is going viral thanks to New Yorker editor Aaron Overby, who tweeted it alongside a caption that Fey had Fallon dead to rights. In what's described as one in a series of love letters to her best friend Amy Poehler in the book, Tina describes a situation for early in Amy's career on SNL, which started in early September of 2001. Amy and a team of writers were doing a read-through of an upcoming bit, shooting off ideas, and Amy, as Tina describes, was doing some nonsense with Seth Meyers and did something vulgar as a joke that was dirty, loud, and unladylike. Fallon, who as Faye mentioned was the star of the show at the time, took offense to it. Apparently trying to lighten up how he delivered his criticism, he decided to deliver it in a faux squeamish voice saying, "Stop that, it's not cute, I don't like it," some shit like that. Amy apparently picked up on the fact he was actually bothered under his attempt to be funny about the complaint, and Tina described that she stopped, went black in the eyes for a second, and responded, "I don't care if you like it." Fallon was then startled while Poehler went right back to enjoying a ridiculous bit. However, while this circulates, we should remember what isn't included in the viral tweet, that Tina openly stated Jimmy and Amy are very good friends and there was never any real beef between them. Here's a classic, however. Number 8 is Dakota Johnson. Hilarious. While Dakota Johnson has most notably appeared in 50 Shades of Grey, and that's about it, she is famous for firing back without fear at reality TV hosts and interviewers alike. She famously cut off Ellen, which pretty much broke the internet, but she also had an iconic interaction with Jimmy Fallon before that, when he kept interrupting her on The Tonight Show. Fallon has a bad habit of asking celebrities for stories, but then asking too many interruptive or distracting questions as they tell them, and sometimes the celebrity doesn't even get to finish the tale before Jimmy's questions push them into another. Dakota was trying to talk about how she's being sprayed by a skunk for the 6th time, which is weird as hell. I want to know what she's doing to skunks to make them hate her. But then Jimmy interrupts her for a final time, and in turn she interrupted him by asking, "Are you supposed to let people talk talk on this show? Jimmy took a second to laugh and looked kind of incredulous and a tad annoyed, responding, "If they know what they're talking about, yes! What the hell are you talking about?" While both he and Dakota laughed. Both parties brushed off the experience pretty well, despite how much trolling online it received, becoming a feature of memes and tweets globally. Number 7 is Blake Shelton, or as I call him, Gwen Stefani's husband. All I know about him is he makes country music, and I guess that's something Jimmy Fallon and I have in common, because it seems when it comes time to interview Shelton, Fallon kind of falls flat on how to approach him or what to ask. When Blake Shelton appeared on the show in 2017, he was not the most receptive to Fallon's humor. Jimmy Fallon jokingly made fun of Blake Shelton's southern accent and tossed in a few southern stereotype jabs in the mix. Nothing harsh or biased per se, but it definitely rubbed the country singer the wrong way. Instead of laughing along with the humor, Shelton was visibly annoyed. Kind of funny that the dude whose whole brand in music is built upon being southern can't take a good ribbon about it. In fact, Shelton didn't even laugh at Jimmy Fallon's jokes much. Finally, Jimmy Fallon started interviewing Blake Shelton properly, and Shelton replied in a dry, monotone voice, "Thank God," causing an awkward moment where even the live audience didn't know if they should laugh or acknowledge the quip. Their senses of humor just don't mesh. Number 6 is Rami Malek. So, the childhood crush of every nerdy, history-obsessed kid that watched Night at the Museum like a religion. Now, he's all grown up and dominating the screens in complicated dramas such as Mr. Robot or unreal biopics such as Bohemian Rhapsody. But let's not forget another time Rami dominated our screens. Rather, the phone ones. Tweets and memes hit the internet hard after a hilarious and awkward interaction occurred during the late night show interview between Fallon and Malek. Jimmy was expressing his adoration for the recent Rhapsody biopic and elatedly rambled to Rami that if I had your email or your phone number, I would have called you like a gazillion times, like, dude, you were unbelievable. Rami is kind of awkwardly leaned back in his chair and does like the darting gaze, sort of like awkwardly looking at Fallon, then the audience, then back at Fallon, and uncomfortably mentions, "You have my email and phone number." There's an uncomfortable beat in which Fallon, with his usual water off a duck's back routine, responds with, "That's true, I just decided not to call you, ha 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 ha," before awkwardly moving on. Number 5 is Shawn Mendes. The sassy Canadian singer was 18 when he first pulled what would sort of become like a short-term stunt of his whenever he was around Jimmy Fallon, which is telling the TV host that he's old. And not in a particular funny haha way, just kind of in an awkward fall flat kind of way. It started in 2016 when Mendes was gearing up to do a performance on the show. Jimmy messes up and gives him a late cue to start singing, leading to Mendes telling Jimmy his timing is all wrong and this was all on you, while the two awkwardly laugh off the fail. As Jimmy's trying to continue, however, Mendes tosses in and "I told you I'm just not as old as you," eliciting laughs, woes, and ohs from the audience. Fallon himself laughs at the joke, especially when the band follows it with a or rim shot, and Jimmy manages to work with that first insult, replying, "Son, don't talk back to your father like that, don't talk back to your dad like that, go to your room right now." Mendes, however, doesn't take the cue to kind of back off and keep doing their actual bit that's planned, and awkwardly keeps rolling with his roast of the host. It doesn't mean "you don't look old, you're fine, you just are old, I'm just very young." It seemed to be the last of it, but only a few minutes later, when Fallon comments "that is a hit song right there" in regards to Mendes singing of a tweet, he abruptly tells Fallon, again, no context, "you sound like my grandfather," which goes ignored and uncomfortable by the audience and Fallon. Number 4, John Oliver. Host versus host. There's never gonna be a winner. Oh, well, maybe there is, but who's to say? While interviewing John Oliver on the late night show, Fallon and he have one of their many awkward confrontations, wherein Fallon had been waxing poetic to Oliver, saying, "You know, last week tonight," which I still think is the best title of any show ever. Oliver, without missing a beat, interrupts and says, "The best title? Wow, that sounds like damning me with fake praise, Jimmy. I really love the title." It goes downhill once that's finished. I love how John Oliver's voice is so distinct, even as someone who doesn't watch him, I can literally hear him saying those words in my brain. It's hilarious, however, to see Jimmy pressured to tell the truth when he always plays it safe. This is one of many instances where Oliver has put Jimmy in this situation, such as the video call interview during COVID with Jimmy, wherein he kept asking the Alexa inappropriate questions for a public video, forcing Fallon to have to disable it, and essentially not give Amazon a free commercial of him and the other late night host. Number 3 is Roger Waters. For those who don't know but love to wear the t-shirts, Roger Waters is one of the Pink Floyd members, of whom Jimmy Fallon is a massive fan. Naturally, it made for an exciting opportunity to interview Roberts. However, Jimmy inevitably steered the topic towards former Syd Barrett, who left the band struggling with schizophrenia and mental wellness. This immediately triggered an emotional reaction from Waters, who took on a very serious tone when discussing Syd that implied no nonsense was to be made. However, Jimmy doesn't seem to pick up on the vibe, and he goes goes on to bring up a story where Barrett was in an episode and interrupted a Pink Floyd recording. Fallon chose to describe Sid insensitively, saying a bald man with a toothbrush in his mouth. Waters clears up that story, making sure to tell Fallon that his friend being consumed by addiction and mental illness wasn't a funny story, and that the entire situation was very sad. Number 2 is Jerry Seinfeld. I chose to put Seinfeld in here due to his vocal defense of Jimmy Fallon in the last few days, but also his acknowledgement that he defended others from him. So, for those who haven't read it yet, in the interviews recently given by current and former staffers of Jimmy Fallon, one recalled a story in which Seinfeld, the interviewee of the night, had seen Fallon being hard on one of his workers, scolding them for flubbing a simple task while they filmed. The anonymous whistleblowers claimed Seinfeld right then and there ordered Fallon to apologize to the worker, and that Fallon supposedly complied. Go Jerry Seinfeld, we love to see it. The anonymous former employee said that in interview, it was very awkward and Jerry was like, you should apologize to him, almost trying to make it a joke. It was one of the strangest moments ever and so many people were there, so it's kind of hard to forget. Rolling Stone claims Seinfeld's reps did not respond to multiple requests to comment before publishing the article, but once the story was published, Seinfeld sent them the following statement. This is so stupid. I remember this moment quite well. I teased Jimmy about a flub and we all had a fun laugh about how rarely Jimmy is thrown off. It was not uncomfortable at all. Jimmy and I still occasionally recall it and laugh. Idiotic twisting of events. A source with knowledge of The Tonight Show also told the Post on Thursday that the Rolling Stones version of the Seinfeld story is inaccurate, which is now starting to cast some light on the debatable reality of these accusations. Number 1 is Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin is famous for a multitude of reasons, from his late brother River Phoenix to his chaotic performances in films such as Her and Joker. But Joaquin also pulled a move on the late night show that made people with complicated names everywhere glow a little inside. When Jimmy Fallon tried to give Joaquin Phoenix a nickname, he wasn't having it. Fallon, with very little context, tells Joaquin, I call you Wa. Then Joaquin was like, why? Fallon laughs and says, well, your name's Joaquin, and I feel like that's too long for me. Joaquin, looking extremely unimpressed, replied without hesitation that you can handle it. I feel like you can handle it. You do a monologue every night. Dude, let me say thank you, Joaquin, on behalf of myself and everyone out there with a unique or foreign name. It gets very old and very offensive when people don't try to pronounce it, would rather just assign you a nickname for their own comfort and convenience. People often describe the entirety of this interview, as well as the memory game instilled at the beginning, as vague evidence towards Joaquin disliking Fallon as a whole, especially after this point in the interview where he remains cold, aloof, and distant with the man.
For number 10, we have the comedian London Hughes. London took it to X, formerly known as Twitter, to share how she always knew to keep a distance from Brand, who she claims was a self-confessed addict when it came to women and seeking intimacy. She stated, I was newly signed with Russell's agent at the height of his career. I was a huge fan of the man, so excited to meet him. But my first day at the agency, I was told unprovoked that I shouldn't sleep with him under any circumstances as he likes to pursue women, have intercourse with them. She continued by saying, but as soon as he had intercourse with them, they'd make him feel sick and he didn't want to be around them anymore, so he would have them fired or dropped from the agency. It had happened several times in the past. I was 22 at the time, did what I was told, and completely avoided him. This is not some cheeky misunderstood man. I am not shocked by the documentary at all. I believe everything those brave women said. London's statements proved there was a power imbalance when it came to other women and Brand. These girls were probably scared they would lose their job if they came forward, or worried no one would believe them. At number 9, we have the crew at Big Brother. Russell was actually representing Big Brother's Big Mouth on Channel 4, ironically, from 2004 to 2006. Well, now the crew members who worked alongside Brand have come forward to discuss his behavior on set. These employees were working for the production firm Endemol while this was occurring. Well, now these ex-employees have come forward to actually call Russell Brand a pimp. Brand would allegedly ask the showrunners to go to the audience members he found attractive and ask for their information in order to meet up with them afterwards. There is not only a power imbalance when it comes to Russell and the staff, but also the audience, which makes this whole situation even trickier. The ex-staff member stated, we all knew he was a predator. There is no denying that he was involved in a lot of complicated sexual situations. Another staff member described the workplace environment as a free-for-all due to everyone being culpable, as they all knew how he was like. Another stated, I distinctly remember getting phone calls from women in tears the next day saying they'd met up with Russell. It was like we were taking lambs into slaughter. We were basically acting like pimps to Russell Brand's needs. Another showrunner who was 24 at the time claimed Russell flashed her in the dressing room. This whole situation, if true, is devastating, as I'm sure the staff members felt compliant as he was such a well-known public figure and their jobs were probably at risk. In our 8th spot, we have Daniel Sloss. This comedian comedian, actor, and writer, was apparently one of the first to publicly speak out against him. Hundreds of sources who have worked with Brand, including other comedians and celebrities, were asked to speak up about Brand for the documentary, but Sloss was the only one who was willing to speak on record. He reveals how several women comedians were in a WhatsApp group chat together where they would warn each other about Brand. Sloss stated, "I know for many years women have been warning each other about Russell." He even further added, "There were many stories. It wasn't just coming from one person or one group of people, it was different incidents over different years and of varying degrees of severity. He was a big name, big household name. If you were a comedian and got a gig with him, you'd be gigging with a celebrity. I'm stood in bars with agents, promoters, channel commissioners, and I'm hearing these allegations and rumors with Russell in the same room. And later on, he would be on a movie or a television show, he would be hosting something. He was still being employed." If this is all true, it seems like those in the industry itself seem to have more insight on Brand while he was able to keep his image squeaky clean for the public. We have the director of the Hijack series, Jim Field Smith. Although he hasn't directly identified who he's talking about, many believe it is about Brand himself because he tweeted a series of tweets after the allegations. He refers to this mystery A-list celebrity as Actor X, and he claims this actor has powerful people working alongside him in order to protect their career. Smith actually said he turned down working with this person because of the claims surrounding their behavior. He states, "I was once dissuaded from hiring Actor X because other actors I was meeting for other roles had heard X might be attached to the project and had said unequivocally they would not work on the project in those circumstances." He further added, "There were no criminal allegations against X, but rather a pattern of behavior that several people had either noticed or been personally subjected to." When I asked these people why this wasn't common knowledge, they said that speaking up didn't seem like it would make a difference. He continued to say, "This was really troubling. After not much deliberation, the casting director and I decided not only to cease negotiations with X, but also, more importantly, to be very open and honest about why we were doing so." If Smith is referring to Brand, it means they have addressed these claims to him, which is troubling because it seems like he has a repeated pattern as many feared him behind the scenes. At number 6, we have the anonymous former model. This ex-model, although anonymous, has shared her alleged experience she had with Brand as she spoke with The Sun. She met him back in a bar in 2005 located in Primrose Hill, and she claims to have told him to leave her alone, but he proceeded to follow her onto the streets as she says he grew increasingly creepy. While walking through the streets of London, Brand was following her while she was walking alone. She shared how it felt like a lifetime. Russell then apparently shouted at her and stated, "Let's just right here." She then further added, "I felt like he was hunting me down. It wasn't flirty or fun. The word predator is absolutely spot on. He was dead set on his goal. His intention was to have sex with someone. Anyone." That is extremely frightening, and honestly, some of the words she used to describe Brand has also been used by multiple women. For our number 5 spot, we have Dannii Minogue. This Australian singer and TV personality had an interview back in 2006 before any of these current SA allegations surfaced. She first met Brand when she was set to appear on his show to promote the release of her album. However, she was left with an awful experience. When interviewing with The Mirror, she states, "He is completely crazy and a bit of a vile predator. I certainly don't think he has cured his addiction, that's for sure. He wouldn't take no for an answer." The way Dannii described Brand sounds a lot like how other women described him, with words like predator being a reoccurring way to describe him. A lot of people are resurfacing this interview, especially because of the recent claims and because Dannii said all of this about him before anything about Brand was made public. And for number 4, we have Sean Locke. This comedian and actor had a resurfaced video that has recently been shared after the SA allegations. Back in 2013, Locke stated, "Probably the reason I hate him so much is because I'm a dad, and I've got this fear that my daughter will bring someone like that home." This is a huge red flag when it comes to Brand's behavior, as it seems many people have the same stigma and opinions on him, and especially when it comes to Brand's treatment towards women. Locke actually then proceeds to do an imitation of Brand and says, "Such a pleasure to be your charming abode," while waving his arm in the air. It's clear Locke had his opinions about Brand before sadly passing away in 2021. In our 3rd spot, we have Adam Rowe. This stand-up comedian wrote a thread on X describing his knowledge and experiences with Brand. He did end up taking down this tweet, however, the screenshots are posted all over Reddit. He stated, "Russell Brand's allegations far outdate his new anti-mainstream media shtick. We've all known for years but have been threatened with legal action, and he has a super injunction. Dispatches must have enough to surpass it. When I say we've, I mean the comedy industry. It is clear from our list so far, many comedians themselves are speaking out against Brand, as I'm sure many of them worked pretty close alongside him, as they are in the same industry. Adam also believes Brand is attempting to pull off the victim card, as he wants people to believe the mainstream media has gone after him. In fact, he described it as quote-unquote reverse engineered, as he believes he's known for a long time and has been preparing for this moment and spent his recent years putting up an anti-mainstream media persona. At number 2, we have comedian Sam Avery. He actually took it to X, formerly known as Twitter, to share his opinions on the ongoing essay allegations against Brand. He wrote, "People talking about Russell Brand like he's the only person to ever question the establishment, big pharma, etc. Nah mate, he's just the one with good cheekbones who uses long words that make you feel intelligent. The dude's less authentic than AstroTurf." Sam made it pretty clear where he stands with Brand, as he has now publicly said in the statement about why he doesn't like Brand and suggests why people are still supporting him amid the essay allegations. In our first spot, we have Katy Perry. Of course she would be on this list, as she was once married to Brand back in 2010, but Brand actually filed for divorce 14 months later through a text message. It actually gets worse, as he sent this text message right before Katy was set to perform, and this moment was captured on camera. You're able to view this footage through the documentary called Katy Perry Part of Me, as we see Katy getting emotional as she gets the news, but quickly has to put on a smile as she hits the stage. Well, this singer had an interview with Vogue back in 2013 about her relationship with Brand and said, "He's a very smart man, a magical man, and I was in love with him when I married him. At first when I met him, he wanted an equal, and I think a lot of times strong men do want an equal, but then they get that equal and they're like, I can't handle the equalness. He didn't like the atmosphere of me being the boss on tour, so that was really hurtful, and it was very controlling, which was upsetting." She then added, "Let's just say I haven't heard from him since he texted me saying he was divorcing me." Katy has also discussed how she felt about the divorce and stated, "I felt a lot of responsibility for it ending, but then I found out the real truth, which I can't necessarily disclose because I keep it locked in my safe for a rainy day." It's clear the two weren't right for each other, as it seems Katy has gone through an emotional roller coaster while in a relationship with Brand and even after. Although she hasn't commented on the current situation, it's clear the relationship dynamic these two had was harmful and damaging towards Katy. Although these are all currently just allegations, the Sunday Times has reported multiple other women have been coming forward with even more allegations against Brand. Due to these reports, they are apparently being rigorously checked. And what are your opinions on all these allegations against Russell Brand?
Coming in at number 10, turning against writers. Drew Barrymore faced intense blowback for her decision to resume taping her talk show despite Hollywood's ongoing labor strikes. As long as hosts or guests don't discuss or promote work, she wouldn't have been violating SAG-AFTRA rules, since the network code agreement does allow daytime hosts to perform hosting duties. But the thing is that her show operates with union writers, so new episodes would have required moving forward without their writers on staff. At the time, the WAG condemned her decision. They said Drew Barrymore should not be on air while her writers are on strike fighting for a fair deal. In reality, shows like this cannot operate without writing, and that is struck work. What really got people angry about this whole situation was the hypocrisy, since back in May, Drew stepped down as a host of the MTV Movie and TV Awards in a show of support and solidarity to the striking writers. At the time, she said, "I have listened to the writers, and in order to truly respect them, I will pivot from hosting the MTV Movie and TV Awards live in solidarity with the strike." But only a few months later, it seemed as though she had gone back on her stance, which is why she was immediately labeled a scab. Number 9, the apology video. Drew posted a tearful apology after coming under fire for bringing her talk show back during the writers' strike. In a video posted to Instagram, she said, "I believe there is nothing I can say or do in this moment to make it okay. I wanted to own a decision so it wasn't a PR protected situation, and I would just take full responsibility for my actions. There are so many reasons why this is so complex, and I just want everyone to know my intentions have never been in a place to upset or hurt anyone. That's just not who I am. I've been through so many ups and downs in my life, and this is one of them." Drew went on to explain that there is no PR machine behind this video or the decision to restart production. She insisted that she wanted to do this because, as she said, Instead, this is bigger than her and there are other people's jobs on the line. She said, since launching live in a pandemic, I just wanted to make a show that was there for people in sensitive times. She thought if she could go on during a global pandemic and everything that the world has experienced in 2020, why would this sideline us? But of course, her words fell on deaf ears because by that point, her decision had already been made. Number 8, fired from hosting. As we know, Drew got a ton of backlash for her decision to bring back the show. And then in what must have felt like the final crushing blow, the night before the long list for this year's National Book Awards started coming out, Drew was fired by the National Book Foundation. They announced that Drew, who had been set to host the gala, had been dropped. Quote, "The National Book Awards is an evening dedicated to celebrating the power of literature and the incomparable contributions of writers to our culture. In light of the announcement that the Drew Barrymore show will resume production, the National Book Foundation has rescinded Mrs. Barrymore's invitation to host the 74th National Book Awards ceremony. Our commitment is to ensure that the focus of the awards remains on celebrating writers and books, and we are grateful to Miss Barrymore and her team for understanding the situation." So obviously the foundation chose to stand with the writers in this particular instance, and for that reason they got a lot of praise. Unfortunately, many people felt that this was karma for Drew, and they celebrated the decision to fire her. What's more likely is that the foundation simply didn't want to have to deal with the picketers who would be lining up outside their event. So they did the easier thing and chose to let her go. Number 7, fans kicked out of the show. Drew's talk show went on with taping throughout last week, and it got some seriously bad press in the process because 2 audience members were booted from taping due to wearing a strike pin that had been handed to them by picketers outside of the show's set. So the fact that they got kicked out of the show just because they wore those pins was insane. Drew and her team insisted that she had no idea what had happened, but of course by this point, very few people actually believed her. So she got even more hate when that story came out. Originally, Drew had promised that the show would be fully ad-libbed and not written at all, due to 3 of the usual writers on the series currently striking as a part of the WGA. Despite this, the guild stated that even this version of the show was not within the strike's rules. In her original announcement, Drew said, "I own this choice. We are in compliance with not discussing or promoting film and television that is struck of any kind. Our show was built for sensitive times and has only functioned through what the real world is going through in real time." But clearly, all of that was not enough to stop the growing outrage. Number 6, caving to pressure. Following a flood of criticism from fans and peers for her decision to return her talk show to air, Drew has now decided to press pause on her show's new season, which has led at least 2 other shows in the genre to do the same. She announced a reversal on Instagram, and her statement read, "I have listened to everyone and I'm making the decision to pause the show's premiere until the strike is over. I have no words to express my deepest apologies to anyone I have hurt, and of course to our incredible team who works on the show and has made it what it is today. We have really tried to find our way forward, and I truly hope for a resolution for the entire industry very soon." After Drew's announcement, the Jennifer Hudson Show and The Talk also paused their season premieres, which were set for Monday, with a spokesperson saying that it would evaluate plans for a new launch date. A spokesperson for CBS Media Ventures then told the media that "we support Drew's decision to pause the show's return and understand how complex and difficult this process must have been for her." Coming in at number 5, no concept of personal space. Drew got some major side-eye from fans over her behavior on her own talk show. As a host, she's often very comfortable with her guests, but apparently sometimes a little too comfortable. In a clip taken from the show, she can be seen interviewing Kathryn Hahn before sliding to the floor on her knees and jokingly touching her legs. The 2 of them were discussing the topic of shaving, and Drew was obviously feeling Kathryn's legs for stubble, but a lot of viewers didn't take too kindly to this action, calling her out for the strange and cringy behavior. Under the video, people wrote things like, "The show should be named Drew getting on the floor every episode," and "Why does she keep doing this on the floor thing? I find it strange." The general consensus was that she gets way too close to her guests and is often all up in their personal space, which is why some people get very uncomfortable when watching her show. One person wrote, "Remember when Drew Barrymore's show started and the chairs on the stage were so far apart because of the pandemic, and Drew wasn't constantly on her knees at her guests' feet. So that's something that fans have noticed and they really don't like it. Number 4, rude comments. Last year, Drew Barrymore came under fire for her remarks that she made about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. She then apologized on social media for making light of a very serious case after she described the trial as a 7-layer dip of insanity on her show. She said, "It's like one layer of crazy, it's a 7-layer dip of insanity. I know that these are two people's real lives and I know what it's like to have your life put out in public." She went on to say, "I understand all the feelings, but they are actually offering up all this information that no one had to know. This is crazy." Drew then took to Instagram to apologize for these comments, saying that she was sorry for offending people by making light of the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. She said, "This can be a teachable moment for me and how I move forward and how I conduct myself." While this was one of her better apologies, it's no wonder fans felt a little off about her original comments, because by this point in time, many people were making fun of the trial, which was about a very serious issue. So it didn't help that major celebrities like Drew Barrymore were also doing the same. Number 3, dissing Bill Murray. The actress recently talked about witnessing Bill Murray's demeaning behavior, and she said she was present when he hurled insults at Lucy Liu on the set of Charlie's Angels. Drew said, "What really happened was Bill just came in a bad mood. You know, comedians can be a little dark sometimes, and what you have to know is how much Lucy stood up for herself, and that was a great thing that came out of an unfortunate circumstance. She literally said, 'I do not accept that kind of behavior from you,' and we all supported her and backed her up and we moved forward." Drew said that there were some general comments made towards the group, but then Murray zeroed in on Lucy. Drew also sent her a video that she had of the incident to back up her allegations, which showed the moment that Bill Murray started lashing into her. It was apparently all caught on camera. In response, Lucy told her that she didn't even need the video for confirmation and just having her friend's support was enough. Obviously, these comments didn't sit too well with Bill Murray fans, but it just goes to show you that the Angels still have each other's backs. Number 2, accusations of nepotism. Drew Barrymore is a staple of Hollywood at this point, but she did get her start because she was a daughter of Jade Barrymore and John Drew Barrymore. The crazy thing is that her family's fame goes back even further. The Barrymore legacy dates back to the 19th century to Maurice Barrymore and Georgina Emma Drew, who were stage actors. The first Barrymore to be featured on TV was Lionel Barrymore, who won an Oscar for a 1931 film called A Free Soul. Barrymore getting into Steven Spielberg's E.T., the extraterrestrial was a given. Drew still had a rough childhood, sadly, and it was all thanks to her connections with Spielberg that she didn't spiral into a bad lifestyle like Lindsay Lohan. And coming in at number 1, The Hollywood Life. Drew became a star at the ripe old age of 7 when she played Gertie in 1982's E.T. And of course, she was born into that famous family of actors, so she was truly meant for show business. But behind the curtain of her star-studded life, there was also a lot of darkness. According to The Guardian, Drew Barrymore's father John was a raging alcoholic, and her mother Jade lacked parental responsibility, and she also acted as Drew's manager and put her to work in show business at only 11 months old. But when her parents divorced, the young actress was left with her mother, who frequently took her out to party at Studio 54, where she was unfortunately exposed to illicit substances and a lifestyle that was meant for adults. By the age of 13, Drew had already been in rehab and she had been institutionalized. In fact, it was a psychiatric hospital that suggested that she should emancipate herself from her parents, as they believed she would be better off on her own. Drew agreed and cut contact with Jade, and at 14, she was already living by herself. She would be estranged from her mother for decades, and she recently revealed on Oprah that she was not present at her wedding because they both discussed it and thought that it would be best.
And for number 10, we have Joe stating Sophie will always have his back. And this was said a few weeks before their marriage came to an end. Although it may be true platonically, it definitely won't be like that romantically, at least for a while. However, it is hard to believe Joe when he says Sophie will always have his back, especially because of all the rumors or hidden truths in the media right now. They're all stating how their marriage is unrepairable, with many indicators pointing at the end of their marriage being a really messy one. So did Joe say this to try and deceive the public early on in order to keep things private for as long as he could? Or did he really believe that at the time, and something must have happened within the following weeks for them to split? And for number 9, we have Joe stating numerous times how great of a mom Sophie was towards their 2 daughters. However, rumors started spreading quickly after their decision for divorce was made public, indicating different reasons why their marriage ended. TMZ reportedly indicated the final straw was when Joe allegedly caught Sophie on their home Ring doorbell, which, if you aren't familiar with, captures sound and camera footage. Sophie apparently said or did something that Joe saw through the Ring doorbell and decided to end their marriage. What Joe saw or heard is still unconfirmed, but it does keep you wondering what would have been something Sophie did that was bad enough to end their seemingly loving marriage. If this is true, Joe stating Sophie's a great mom may be a little more questionable. As of now, Jonas's lawyer talked about the plans of having shared custody or parental responsibility as their 2 daughters are only 4 and 1 years old, which is a great chance for both parents to continue building a relationship with their children even after the divorce. And for number 8, we have apparently Sophie is very down to earth and very relatable, even though she has found massive success in her career as an actor. That was one thing Joe loved about her, as they were able to be genuinely happy once upon a time. However, some sources have said Sophie felt trapped in her relationship with Joe. These 2 ex-lovebirds have 7 years in between them two, which means they have a 7-year age gap, meaning Sophie began dating Joe when she was around 20 years old and he was 27, and that was back in 2016. They ended up getting married in 2019 when Sophie was 23 and Joe was 29. While apparently Turner has started to feel regret as she believes she has missed out on her youthful years and the ability to be as carefree as she would like to be. But instead, these 2 started a life together, being tied down to marriage and even welcoming their 2 daughters. Sophie was 24 when they had their first child together, and many are speculating how she may feel like she didn't fully enjoy her youthful years when she had the chance to, and instead was taking care of her family. The 7-year age gap may have been why they no longer see eye to eye, as they are both in very different stages in their lives and as they continue to grow their careers and their own individuality. At number 7, we have Seeking Adventure. Jonas has talked about how he loves Turner's exploration and adventurous side. She loves seeking a new activity or trying a new thing. Unfortunately, this very thing Joe loved Sophie for could be a potential cause of their split. An unnamed source, allegedly a friend of Sophie's, confirmed issues between these 2 started around the time of Christmas of 2022. The source said Sophie then decided to separate with Joe during the start of summer of this year. She spent those summer months partying with her friends and enjoying her holiday all around Europe. And you may be wondering what Joe was doing while she was out and about. Well, he was taking care of their children. I understand if Sophie wanted a little break because it can be exhausting to be a mother, especially to 2 young children. However, her drive for adventure has definitely not helped the relationship between her and her former husband, as the time apart led to Joe filing for divorce. Since she had an active career in this industry since she was 14, she may be curious about what have entailed during those times if she didn't start her career. Well, now she is very successful from what she does, and maybe she just wants to take a break from her life a little bit and live the parts she missed out on. And for number 6, we have Deceiving the Public. In May of this year, which should have been roughly around the time Sophie decided to separate from Joe, he was performing live at concert when he stopped to ask where Sophie was among the audience, and told her he just wanted to say that he loves her. Of course, when it comes to the public eye, it isn't always easy to tell everyone the truth, nor do they owe it to the public. However, it is interesting how the timing of this, when it happened, fits in right before Sophie allegedly split from Joe, making us wonder how long problems were really swept under the rug. I mean, these 2 were iconic and well known for how seemingly perfect they appeared. They took funny paparazzi photos together in the past, which ultimately gave fans the appearance of a happy and funny couple. The home Joe and Sophie owned was also put up for sale weeks before the news broke out about their divorce. Talks about a divorce must have been actively occurring, as they clearly had a rough summer apart from each other. And at number 5, we have Commitment. Joe has revealed in an interview in the past how he loves Sophie because she's so hardworking and committed when it comes to her roles. Unfortunately, the role of being a mother has been on the rough side. Allegedly, people who are close to Jonas and Turner knew their relationship was coming to an end, as they spent the entire entire summer basically apart. Their lifestyle has no longer been matching up and working together as if it used to. Instead, friends of Sophie say she has never experienced those teenage years, finding herself and seeking different partners. Apparently, ever since the kids came along, she has felt trapped. The commitment between work life and now kids is definitely not an easy one to balance. Joe seems to have wanted a settled down life as he is a little older than Sophie. However, Turner does feel like she's missed out on her young years because of the industry she is in and began working for when she was only 14 years old as an actress. Her friends say she isn't ready for that as she's never experienced everything she clearly wants to do. And for number 4, we have family pressure. An unnamed friend of Turner said there's been a lot of pressure Sophie has been put under due to the families comparing Nick and Priyanka's relationship. And if you don't know who Nick Jonas is, he's the brother of Joe and another member of their famous band, the Jonas Brothers. Nick is married to Priyanka, who is 10 years older than him, and sources say because Priyanka is not only older but is more mature and on the same page as Nick when it comes to family life and careers, Sophie has felt a lot of stress due to this. Allegedly, Joe and his family want Sophie to be focused and similar to Joe and his goals in the same way Nick and Priyanka are. But due to Sophie being now 27, she feels like she's wasted all of her time on her good youthful years working. Because of that, she wants to spend her time now catching up and making memories to replace the time she thought was wasted. And you're probably wondering why Sophie even married Joe if that's how she was feeling. Well, sources say there was no issues in the beginning surrounding their age gap, but as time has gone on, it has proved they both want very different things. I mean, your own family pressure is scary enough, but imagine your partner's family. And for number 3, we have Joe saying in the past how he is the social butterfly in the relationship and Sophie is the homebody. This may have been true at the time, however, it is clear through all the attention these two have on them right now, Sophie was the one seeking excitement, whereas Joe has been allegedly taking care of their 2 children. While the world was in lockdown during the pandemic, Sophie revealed in a video how she loved being at home all the time, whereas Joe felt like he was in prison. It is interesting to see how things change and makes you wonder what actually caused these issues. Did something happen for Sophie to come out of her shell? In fact, sources say that the time Sophie went to Europe for vacation, Joe actually flew there, as well as their 2 daughters. Joe tried to fix the relationship, however it is said that they were unable to work through any differences they may have had, which led Joe fly back to the US with his children, who has since been living with him. Allegedly, Sophie's friend told media outlets that Turner has only begun living her life as she has been in the industry since she was 14. From there, she got married and began a family while in her mid-20s, which may help us understand why she feels like she has to get out rather than live the life she did. And for number 2, we have privacy. Joe has been well aware of Sophie trying to hide their children's face due to constant cameras and eyes on them. Sophie indeed had great intentions protecting her children from the harsh and cruel world. Joe, however, is facing major backlash online after the first photos of him have been released ever since the divorce was filed. The photos show Joe with his 2 daughters out in public without his wedding ring on, and fans were quick to share their opinions as many people believe this was an obvious PR stunt as they were seated outdoors where the paparazzi were able to take pictures of them. Whether he hired the paparazzi or not, it is definitely unfair to the children who have been protected by Turner in the past. Now suddenly the divorce news comes out and his kids' faces are shown all over the internet. Some think Joe did it in order to get back at Sophie, but obviously the only people that know the full truth are Joe and Sophie themselves. And finally, in our number 1 spot, we have Jonas's fake personality. Some fans speculate the 2008 Taylor Swift song Mr. Perfectly Fine is actually about Joe Jonas. If you didn't know, Joe and Taylor dated back in the day, and many believe their relationship was the inspiration behind Taylor's song, with lyrics basically explaining a man who has caused so many issues behind the scenes but refuses to be truthful to the public. It also discusses how this mystery man actually crafts and plans his strategies so he does not appear to be the bad guy in the public eye. What makes this so-called theory even crazier is Sophie's Instagram post. Back in August of this year, Turner attended a Taylor Swift concert and many fans gave her bracelets that read Mr. Perfectly Fine. Those bracelets were visible in her Instagram photo, and it is obviously hard to deny how interesting this theory really is, or if it even is a theory.